This week on the Jock and Nerd podcast, we review Beverly Hill Cop Axel F. Plus, Marvel drops their first trailer for the Agatha All Along show. Deadpool and Wolverine hosting fan screenings around the world. New Superman set photos giving us a good look at Green Lantern and Hawkgirl. And reviews for the latest episodes of The Acolyte, The Boys, and House of the Dragon, and more. All in this edition of the Jock and Nerd Weekly for Monday, July 8th, 2024.
This is Jason Mewes, and for reasons best left between you and your therapist, you're listening to the Jock and Nerd Podcast. Snooch to the nooch. Check. Check one. All right. This is for all you fans out there. Let's give it up.
Jock it, we nerd it. We funny, disturb it. We jock it, we nerd it. We spoiler alert. Oh yeah!
Oh yeah, what's up, listener? Hello and welcome to the Jock and Nerd Podcast, where we give you comic book and superhero, TV and movie news, reviews, and whatever we choose. Jock and Nerd. My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the Jock.
He's the nerd.
And joining us from a parallel universe where everybody's a puppet using some faulty equipment, he's known as the Beverly Hills Flop. It's Rug Boy. What's up, Rugs? What are you doing?
Can you hear me? Am I coming through okay?
What are you doing in this puppet multiverse, and why is your equipment so bad?
You know what happens. Sometimes you plug in a fucking blender, and then you plug the blender in at the same time as your TV, and then you plug in your TV at the same time as your quantum space fucking thing, and then it all just hits a bolt lightning, and all of a sudden you get sucked into another universe.
I've always said you can't plug in the space-time demogrifier and a toaster at the same time. It just it never works. So
you need a GFI outlet or something.
Anyways, listener, all this bullshit is to say, you need
I don't even know what I'm saying.
You need the GFI with the waterproof switch with the fuse. Yeah. All this bullshit is to say, there's possibility that Ruggs may cut in and out this episode. He may just literally phase out of existence. We are dealing with multiple planes of reality, quantum physics. It's all very duct taped together through the multiverse. Yes.
Bad internet.
Or bad internet. So,
something else.
Or something else. Let your mind go wild. I've got to have a disclaimer. So if I ask him a question and it's silence, that's why. Anyways,
you know now.
Now you know.
Faulty equipment.
Yes, the fuse went out. There's an issue with the crystals. Anyways, enough of that. We have a wonderful movie to review and some fun geek news to discuss. Let's get started.
The Jock and Nerd Podcast.
So Marvel released a teaser trailer for a teaser professor for the show everybody is waiting for, which is Agatha All Along. Yay! First teaser trailer. Is anybody excited?
We're all excited for this.
Maybe the trailer makes us more excited. This thing will have a 2-episode premiere in September 18th. And as far as this little trailer, it seemed a little bit different than what we've been getting. I like how kind of starts as like a procedural detective murder show. And I was like, what the fuck is this? What am I watching? Aubrey Plaza jumps in, pulls Agatha out. She's in a spell. You meet a bunch of witches. Anthony, did this trailer do anything to get you more excited? What's your take now?
First off, did you notice the Marvel Television?
That's the new branding logo.
Yeah. So, this is the show that I think everyone has been ragging on as, why does this even exist? Who asked for this? It's up for debate if it was this or Echo. I still feel like Echo was even more like
pointless.
Yeah, pointless. Like what no one thought this actress was any good in the last show. Why are we giving her her own show? At least this is Catherine Hahn, right?
Yeah, she's great. She's great and everything. Yeah.
I have two thoughts. One, it wasn't what I was expecting. So in that sense, it's better than what I was expecting because it seemed to take itself pretty seriously and go more on the horror murder mystery route.
Yeah.
leaning more into the witchcraft and less into how silly she was in her appearance on WandaVision.
Yeah.
That said, it does still kind of look. It looks a little TV-y, and maybe that's why the branding is there. But it definitely doesn't look like a Marvel movie production like they were hyping up when they first started the MCU on Disney Plus. So I still wouldn't say I'm excited for this show, but at least from the trailer, and we'll see what happens when it plays out. At least they're acknowledging that this can't just be a silly show. At least they're going. We have some sort of vision for this, and we have a way that we're leaning that is different than what you may have been expecting or getting from Marvel. Again, I don't think it's going to be, it probably won't be that good, but at least my expectations are so low that if it just barely hits the bar, it'll, be solid.
Yeah, like I like the hints of darkness you see and the demon you see, and maybe if it happens to be TVMA, they may be able to push some of this. This is written by Zach Schaefer, who also wrote WandaVision. Ruggs, any hope for this? What does it look like the show's about? And are you interested?
Well, I think that Aubrey Plaza. I say her
Aubrey
name wrong.
Plaza is also
Aubrey
great.
Plaza, like Barbara Walters. I don't know. Aubrey Plaza is the bad girl in this.
Oh, you think she is the bad bitch?
I mean, she looks like she's helping out, but she's also definitely, I think she's like competitive or has a rivalry with Agatha in some way, and I think that makes it interesting.
All along,
it was.
Yeah. But look, as Anthony had pointed out, it is a more serious tone than I expected. It looks like a TV show. It's not really rising above. Like, I just watched Game of Thrones and that looked amazing.
Yeah.
There's a couple of weird shots in that, by the way, but I'll talk about that later. But it looks a little bit like par for TV. It didn't look like it was pushing the envelope at all. But at least we have competent actors in here. Let's see if they do the job. So,
I mean, it looks like it's a little bit scarier than I thought. Like that girl doing the back crab thing, the zombie at the end.
But that's like played out, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
Everybody, you've seen that everywhere. I mean, they put that back into Exorcist and that stuff. So actually, it's weird. The trailer kind of hints at the story. There's an official synopsis. And the synopsis says the infamous Agatha Harkness finds herself down and out of power after a suspicious goth teen helps break her free from the distorted spell. Her interest is piqued when she begs her to take him on the legendary Witch's Road, a magical gauntlet of trials that, if survived, rewards a witch with what they're missing. Together, Agatha and this mysterious teen pull together a desperate coven and set off down the road.
So she wants her powers back. That's what I got from the advertisement, right? She doesn't have her powers. Like, Wanda took them all.
She's trapped in a spell. And also, I love how you see the name, Maximoff name come up on the sheet. And is that body in the beginning? Is that supposed to be Wanda?
I think they're also getting at the fact that Wanda potentially died.
Yeah, she's
in
dead.
the last one. So maybe that spell that's on her is not as strong.
Oh, yeah. No, well, she died in Multiverse of Madness. Remember? The whole
died in quotation marks.
died. The mountain came down on her.
Maybe
but
that's the door that Wanda or Catherine Hahn's character Agatha can now access to potentially get out of this. But maybe because she's in some sort of comatose state, the hex isn't as strong on her. So now it's weird.
I would think that once Wanda died, the spell would be broken or whatever. But yeah, I like that shot where she comes back and she's like in black and white, like in the first WandaVision. It surprised me. It was a little bit better than I was expecting. It slightly raised my interest, this thing, but I really largely still have trouble kind of carrying.
It's not really a show we're really interested in. We watch it because we have to watch it.
Right. And it's the echo effect is like, it's so weird. They're taking these side characters and then just giving them full on shows.
This was from a different era. I mean, this was when they were greenlighting everything.
That's true.
To put on Disney Plus because they just needed to fill content. So, you're not really seeing, I don't think we've had any show announcements for the past
that's a good point.
year or so.
Yeah. They kind of paused that
because of this. So, this is part of that era when they just were filling content.
Yeah, it was probably too far along, and they're like, well, we got to make this, we got to make this, and we got to make this, and we might as well. So that will be your next MCU Disney Plus TV show, September 18th. 2-episode season premiere. Listener, let us know what you think. You can join this conversation. Join our Facebook group. It's called Jock and Nerd Nation. Jock and Nerd. It is an exclusive closed group just for you. We have spoiler threads. Our group members post trailers and geek news. It's lots of fun. You can meet people, other listeners. Get in there. Chop it up. As the kids say. Skibbity already, y'all.
What?
Look, it's Sigma, bruh. That's all. Bet. Oh my God. Bet. Here's my problem with that Gen Alpha using bet is that bet was a word from like late 80s, early 90s hip hop. They were already saying. But I guess aside from that, the other words are like all new.
Was bet the way that it's used now?
Yeah. I mean, like, okay, like, let's go. I bet. Like you hear
bet,
that.
Kids have been saying bet for years now.
It's like when
it's just never been overly used. Like there's certain things that like, general public mass picks up.
It wasn't mainstream, right? Yeah. It was in like the street culture.
Well, when it wasn't, because when people started saying bet to me, I was going, what? What do you mean by that?
Yeah.
Bet.
By then.
No, but the thing that people would say, let's go for me, when people would say word.
Oh, word.
Yeah.
Word
Word
is another one you could use.
Same forever.
Yeah, and you could use that in a lot of different ways, right? You could be like word.
Or you could use it like bet. Let's go.
You see that the conversation that we're having about the word is more interesting than Agatha.
Yeah, nobody cares about this Agatha show. Moving on. I bet you're gonna like this one, maybe. On 4th of July this past weekend. Hope everyone had a safe 4th here in the States, by the way.
Hope everyone kept their hands, all their digis.
Yes, keep all your fingers. You be very careful with the explosives. Speaking
How were the dogs, Imran? I know you sent out a PSA at the end of the last show.
You know what? They were okay. We found things to give them to keep them occupied, but
so you gave them some of your fucking weed, huh? You son of a bitch.
Not on purpose.
We found things.
It was an accident, and it happened once.
CBD gummies.
There's CBD like oil you can give dogs, right? And treats and marrowbone. Look, my dog's been high a couple of times, not intentionally. It's all been accidental. But she's an old hippie at this point. Anyways, celebrating 4th of July, Marvel released a new picture of Anthony Mackie as Captain America, kind of behind the scenes. And you get a really good look at this suit. He's holding the shield. What do you guys think of this outfit?
It looks like Captain America's outfit.
It looks like it
looks
does
good.
looks like I like it. Yeah.
Rugg said it best. It looks like Cap's outfit. That's probably the best outfit that Cap wore on screen, or the best version looked similar. So yeah, I forget. You want him to be Cap? Put him in that.
Want him to be Cap? Yeah. Did he take the shield in the last thing? He took the shield, right?
Yeah.
He's okay with the shield now from the TV show. Totally
right.
Yeah, because he gave that mayor a good talking to, or whatever.
That's right. He had on the street. He had a little moment.
Yeah, they wrote that very subtly, that whole speech.
Yeah. As it not
but
subtle.
Now he feels okay. He can do it.
Now he's in this movie. It's going to be interesting. I first heard rumors that I figured by San Diego Comic-Con, just in a few short weeks, they would give us some footage or a trailer. But according to a couple of sources, Daniel Wickman being one of them, the first trailer for Captain America 4 apparently coming out this week. Geek Boner. On Thursday, later this week. So we may be able to talk about it next week. And then, Anthony, if you get into Hall H, you may see more things, more footage.
Maybe.
Oh, that's happening this week.
It's like we're a couple, 3 weeks away from that?
2 or 3 weeks.
3 weeks away.
Oh, Jesus.
Big weekend, Deadpool, Wolverine, San Diego Comic-Con. Holy shit. It's going to be great. It's going to be great.
Fuck that show.
Yeah, no, what?
Fuck that show.
Oh, there it is.
That's a big fuck up right there.
The other, talking about footage, the other movie actually screening some footage for the fans right now, Deadpool and Wolverine. Hugh Jackman, Ryan Reynolds are kind of on this world tour. They've been to like Shanghai, Germany, Seoul, Korea. There's apparently a giant statue of Deadpool like lying down somewhere.
I like the way you said that. Shanghai,
yeah,
which is city,
Yeah.
Germany, country,
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a country.
Seoul City, and
is
then
a
you
city.
listed Korea.
Seoul, Korea, which is the country Seoul is in. I don't know what city. Let's see. They made stops in Berlin. Okay. Shanghai.
You listed Seoul and Korea as if they
I'm
were two
glad
different
that
things.
Anthony's here to keep him run straight.
A, 2, and D. Sorry, it's from Home
Are
Alone.
you okay, Buzz?
Buzz, your girlfriend.
Woof.
Shanghai, Seoul, Berlin. They are screening the first 40 minutes of the movie
Oh,
for
wow.
fans around the world. So be wary
First
of
40 minutes. Wow.
Yes. Be wary of spoilers. There's a lot of spoilers out there. I'm not going to discuss them here. You can look them up. All I can say, what I will share from some of the reactions, people apparently are dying, laughing. They said it's amazing. And everything we've seen in the trailer apparently is from that first 40 minutes. So they've seen some new stuff, but no, they don't know what the rest of the movie is. What do you guys think? How excited are you for this? And do you want spoilers? Because now you can get
No, I
some.
don't want spoilers.
Yeah.
No one wants. I don't want spoilers. I am. I would say I'm as excited for this as I can be, based on given the track record of Marvel being kind of disappointing for the last couple of years.
Yeah, they need a win.
They need a big hit. It looks like it's going to break some records with the box office. So at least they got that going for them.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like they got a comedy insulation built in, right?
Yeah.
Because a comedy, you can do anything you want. People take it less seriously. You don't really have to reach the highs in the dramatic integrity that you do with a regular film. People are more forgiving. So they got that insulation there. And as long as people laugh, I think no matter what stupid shit that they do, as long as it's funny, people are going to go along with it. So that my expectations are basically like, it's a comedy. Anything can happen. I'm really not, unless it's not funny, then I will
Not
be
funny.
disappointed. Yeah. Unless we get a not funny.
Well, look, it has it in the DNA, right? The first two movies are outrageous. They're over the top. They're funny, but they have a lot of heart. They have a lot of character work. They just have to fulfill that.
If they just step on like what the boys have been doing, where they turn the comedy to a different direction, where like all of a sudden it's just like, all right, now you're not having fun anymore.
It's a parody of itself, which was a parody to begin with, and that's kind of the same thing with Deadpool. That is a fear, but I don't think they've had enough movies to get that far away, right?
I think they still got things to do.
Yeah, they definitely have things to do, because this is the first movie that's in the Marvel cinematic universe. So that already gives this extra juice that if this was not in the MCU, the third outing would be, people wouldn't be as excited, and there wouldn't be as many ideas and things you could explore, because you'd be stuck in the Fox sandbox.
There's more things to lampoon now. They got tons of new shit.
And they can use those.
Yeah.
They can use those. Like in the first and second one, they could allude to stuff. But now you can actually have the characters there that they can make fun of.
I mean, the potential is limitless. So I can't wait. It's going to be crazy. They've kind of adjusted the projection for the opening weekend. Now 3 weeks out. I think last episode we talked 4 weeks out. There was saying something crazy. 200 million, 239 million opening weekend for an R-rated movie. This week, it has been readjusted. They're expected to take at least 160 to 165 million over the weekend, which is still the biggest opening for an R-rated title. And it would still beat the current record for biggest opening for R-rated title, which Deadpool currently holds at 133. Look, I think this thing is going to be huge. And I think we just have to look at Inside Out. Not the same thing, right? Inside Out, Pixar, family friendly, PG.
How is this a comparison at all?
I don't know. I'm just saying 2 movies coming out. One is R-rated, not family friendly. But Inside Out 2 opened to $154 million. In about 3-4 weeks, it has made $1.2 billion.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
That's a group buy-in, right? So that's a whole different dynamic when you go to a family film, because a kid can't just buy a ticket and go in there. He's got to bring at least one person with him. So
I appreciate that it's all under Disney, but I don't know that it's the
that's
same.
insane how quickly they hit $1 billion. It's the first movie this year to hit $1 billion.
It might hit $1 billion that quick. I just don't know that there's anything you can glean from Inside Out that'll, other than even the rate that it grew to $1 billion, like Ruggs said, it's you're not going to have random. You can't have any for everyone just walk in.
Summer is great because you gotta do something. You gotta take the kids somewhere,
Right.
And so every kid movie is going to do great.
Yeah, Despicable Me just opened July 4th. Also did very well.
Yeah, that has nothing to do with it being good.
Yeah.
You could put a fucking anything out there that's for kids, and it'll make money if it's halfway decent.
I do think Deadpool Wolverine opens to at least 150 million, if not a little bit more. Easily, I think, now, with this hype that they are creating overseas and the way the theater is kind of like they're gonna do a little bit better, maybe maybe a little bit, because like really, if Inside Out 2 is still playing, you can have families who are like, they'll take their kids to see that movie again, they'll go see Deadpool Wolverine, whatever, right? I don't know. It's just gonna bring
is
more
that where
people.
you were going with that?
It's gonna bring more people.
That people are going to do double features?
Maybe. You know what? Have you seen the latest double feature? It's not quite Barbenheimer.
I think I saw this, but yeah, tell me.
I think it's next year. It is Gladiator 2 and Wicked.
Oh, yeah.
So they're calling it like the Wicked-ator 2 or something stupid. It's forced. I don't think
a little forced.
Yeah. That's coming out on the same day. Next week, we may also have
chance.
a trailer for Gladiator.
No chance
2.
that it does the numbers Barbenheimer did? Is that what you're saying?
I don't think Gladiator's going to do that well.
Yeah. Like I think we'll have a trailer next week for Gladiator 2 with
the Wizard of Oz with Ariana Grande. I can't say anything.
Yeah.
Ariana Grande and whoever else that.
First of all,
green lady is.
those Wicked trailers look horrible. I'm sorry. I love musicals. I've never seen Wicked. I'm sure the music is great.
The only Wicked that I like is by Ice Cube.
Wicked. Yeah, man. I was going to say that's on his album. That's a great song. Get Wicked.
I do already enjoy the Denzel Washington Gladiator 2 memes I've been seeing.
Oh, there's some memes already. Yeah, I think there's a shot of him like sitting in a throne, and
Yeah, I haven't heard any clapback about him being in this movie. You know, like
you shouldn't be.
Why?
What do you mean? Why?
Oh.
If this is set in Rome,
Yeah.
I'm not sure I would have seen a. I mean, maybe I have to do more research, but I'm not sure I would have
it's
seen
possible.
very many.
There is a possibility.
There could have been one.
No,
black
because
dude there hanging out.
Rome
Come on.
was a melting pot, but
Yeah,
it would
everybody
be weird.
should. Yeah.
It would, yeah.
In Rome
could be
specifically, maybe not like out in the Empire. The Empire is different because obviously Rome, that was a huge spot. But if it was in Rome, I don't know. Maybe.
Was there any black people in the HBO show Rome? I'm trying to think. No. There are in Game of Thrones, but I don't know. I don't know about
Well,
Rome.
I think that there were. Listen, Italy is very close to Africa.
Yeah,
and
the continent is right there. Yes,
and yeah, they're right there. So it's very probable that you would have the melting pot. But now,
yeah.
So there is a like going up to England. I would doubt it because that's not. It's just not conducive. They're not like that close to one another. That wouldn't happen. You know. So Rome probably, because Rome had people from everywhere.
Dude,
so
it's fucking Denzel. I want to see him do some cool shit.
you could make a case for it. It wouldn't be historically super accurate, but I think you could finagle it in the realm of possibilities. So
You got Pedro Pascal, Paul Mescal, Denzel Washington. I think Barry Keegan's in this. A lot of people in this. I'm excited to see that trailer next week. Last thing here before we put the news away. I got to talk about more set photos from the
love
Superman.
set photos.
Here's the thing. I don't, and I didn't want to talk about it. They're still shooting in Cleveland. There's been a ton of videos and photos. And it's a good way to see some of the costumes, even though in some of the setup, I feel better because James Gunn actually came out and said, look, none of what you're seeing is like a big spoiler. He's like, I would not shoot a spoiler scene out in the open, of course. So I was like, yeah, okay. And a lot of characters started showing up, like a Hawkgirl and Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner, Green Lantern. Geek boner. What? I wanted to see what they look like. And, well, they have kind of interesting costumes on. What do you think about Nathan Fillion's haircut? It's quite hilarious. I mean, he does look like a Guy Gardner, I guess.
I don't like it.
I don't like anything that I've seen.
Yeah, he looks
Nothing.
I mean, Guy Gardner is supposed to be kind of a jock, and this, unless you're going with Guy Gardner Jock from the 1960s.
Yeah, it looks kind of.
I don't know if that
strange.
haircut fits what Guy Gardner's aesthetic is.
It's just it's like a mop top, like red mop top.
It looks like
from
a
the Beatles.
blonde Beatle. Yeah,
Yeah, it looks like it's from the Beatles. Also, you'll notice like he doesn't have a Green Lantern outfit on, but him and Hawkgirl have similar kind of uniforms. Apparently, these are all.
I'll say one more thing though about Guy Gardner. Also, the white is a very odd choice. I don't remember Guy Gardner wearing a ton of white, but there are some comic book looks where he does have a bowl cut. I just wouldn't. I don't know if you want the character to be taken seriously, and I don't know what if you're having Nathan Fillion, maybe you don't want the character to be taken seriously, but you don't want to give the guy a bowl cut.
There's,
I mean, if you can do it in a cool way, of course, anything can be done if you have the right stylist. But I feel like it's not quite working.
The white suits. Apparently, there's like a Lord Tech logo on all their suits, so this must be a crew that works for Maxwell Lord, who's going to be in the movie. People are also saying he's pulling from this title called The Terrifics from the comics. Have you heard of this? It's like Mr. Terrific Metamorphose in here, Plastic Man. Some of the characters in this movie have part of the Terrifics. So, I don't know. He's pulling from a lot of different things. I'm sure there'll be a reason. I think they all just work for Maxwell Lords. Those trunks got to be tightened up, though. They're just a little.
Who's that blue dude?
So there's been some discussion about the blue dude.
Is that the Gimp character we saw from The Boys that was in red this past week's episode?
Yes,
just
it's
they're
the
doing
Gimp
blue.
Oh my God!
From Pulp Fiction.
He's doing double duty.
Bring out the Gimp. There's been some speculation is either he's a complete. It's not a CGI character because there's no mocap dots on him. He may be a helper that's there that they remove completely later, but he's holding things or helping people or something. Is
Jesus
what I think, because he doesn't have. It's not a mocap suit, so I think he'll be removed, and he's just like an on-set invisible assistance or something. It's very odd. Or that's like the new costume for Blue Beetle. I don't know. Look at the bulge on that blue guy. It's amazing. You know who else is going to be in the movie? I just saw this. This is kind of nice. Christopher Reeve's son, Will Reeves. He's 32. Was seen filming in Cleveland. He filmed a cameo as a reporter in the movie. He's actually a journalist and works for ABC as a news correspondent. So he is kind of like a reporter.
He's really Superman.
And he kind of looks like his father.
He's really Clark Kent.
He's really, he's really Clark Kent, the reporter. So I thought that's kind of fun.
That's cool. It's kind of weird.
I know. It's a shame he didn't
go all the things he wanted to be. He's a reporter.
He's like, I want to be Clark Kent. Maybe, do you think it's because of his dad?
I don't know, but
it's a shame he didn't go into acting because he looks enough like him to like he would.
He would only be able to play Superman.
Well, he would make a good Superman. That's fine. Imagine your whole life you're groomed to play Superman because your dad was Superman.
Yeah. Then you get into a shitty movie with Zack Snyder. It makes it. I don't know.
Kills the whole thing. All right, that's it for the news. Let's take a break here, fellas. I'm gonna play some promos. We're gonna come back and talk about Axel Foley. Coming back after 30 years. Beverly Hills Cop 4, right after this.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
We'll get you back to your regularly scheduled podcast in just a minute. But we wanted to introduce ourselves. I'm Jason.
I'm Jeff.
And I'm Blake on this highly produced advertisement.
That's right. It's the History of Bad Ideas, a.k.a. Hobie. You can find us on Twitter at Bad Ideas Podcast and on Facebook at The History of Bad Ideas. But if you like a podcast roundtable with 3 to 5 guests, usually every week, depending on sick leave, talking about all things geek, including movies, TV.
I ain't getting paid for this shit.
Blake bitching about something and ranting, and comic books and anything else that we can think of. We have a top 5 list every week, along with a box office news, and somehow we have listeners. So they send us some feedback we answer every week. You can find us on iTunes,
Stitcher,
Facebook,
Spotify,
and any good podcast app, because if you can't find us on that podcast app, it's not a good podcast app.
Damn straight. Roger says goodbye.
Goodbye.
And Nerd.
Listener, if you enjoy the show, this is a fantastic time to give back. Join the Patreon fan club. Visit jockandnerd.com/Patreon.
Jock and Nerd.
And you can sign up and give back on a monthly or annual basis. And we appreciate all the support we get on a continued thing from all you Patreon subscribers. But it helps keep the show going. It all goes back into the show to pay for hosting costs, getting the show out every week. And you get stuff like access to an exclusive podcast feed where the shows come out early. There's some bonus content. There's instant reactions to movies. Currently, we're running a series about Anthony hate watching Star Wars. And I'm very proud of you, Anthony. You've kept it up every week. We've had instant reactions. You having fun with those?
I am. It's honestly made me enjoy the show in a weird, diabolical, masochistic kind of way.
It's fantastic. Hey, anyway.
Like, you watch, like, they can't make it worse than last episode.
Worse.
Right. How much? How bad can it get? And then you end and you go, well, this episode definitely said, hold my beer.
Yeah, how many times can this main character not do what it's supposed to do?
How many times do these people...
how many times can the main character change motivations?
Flip-flop, yes. Look, morbid curiosity is the thing, and if you need to use that, then use it. Anthony, you also sent over another instant reaction. I was very surprised to what movie?
The movie from India called Kill that came out this weekend.
Oh, you watched it? I was tempted.
I did. I went and I had nothing better to do Sunday afternoon. I'll tell the story in the what are we watching?
And I
had nothing better to do and found a theater, and I'll get into all of that a little bit later.
Okay, I think we need to review this movie next week. We'll discuss it at the end, but I'm going to push for that because I've heard great things. So you can hear that. You can join us on our monthly Discord hangout if you sign up for the Patreon. July's hangout will be Thursday, July 18th. You can always check our Patreon page for the latest date and a bunch of other fun things, all at jockandnerd.com/Patreon. Go there, sign up. All right, let's get into this week's review. We will be discussing the Netflix release of Beverly Hills Cop, Axel F. Here's your spoilers.
Strap yourselves in, you fucks. Spoiler time.
You know these Beverly Hills Cop movies. They're classic. The first one's great. Came out 40 years ago.
Oh, shit.
1984. Sequel comes out in 87. Beverly Hills Cop 3 comes out in 1994. And then 30 years later, they're going to give us Beverly Hills Cop 4. But from what I understand, they've been trying to make this movie since the late 90s after that third movie. And it's just been in development hell. So it's crazy that it got made 30 years later. On the Rotten Tomatoes, currently it's sitting at a 66% tomato meter from the critics. 81% audience score. All right. This one is directed by this dude, Mark Malloy. This is his first feature film. He's done a couple of videos. This is his first movie. And it's written by Will Beal, Tom Gormican, and Kevin Etten. This Will Beal dude, very fascinating person. Why? He used to be a former Los Angeles detective. Apparently, he was like a homicide and gang investigator in South Central LA in the 90s. And then quit and started writing. So he's written on such things. He just wrote on Bad Boys 4, Ride or Die. He was the writer on Aquaman, Zack Snyder's Justice League. He contributed and a couple of other things. So that's so fascinating that he was a cop in South Central LA. And then now he's writing movies. Starring, of course, returning as Axel Foley, Eddie Murphy, who is 63. Looks great. Also returning, Judge Reinhold as Billy Rosewood.
How old is he?
Judge Reinhold, I think, is younger or the same age. Doesn't he look a lot older?
That's right.
Judge Reinhold is 67. He's a few years older, but he looks a lot older than Eddie, I'll tell you that much. He's returning. John Ashton as Taggart returning. Paul Reiser as Chief Jeffrey Friedman returning. And, of course, Bronson Pinchot as Serge coming back. Joining, new to the cast, JGL, Joseph Gordon-Levitt playing Detective Abbott.
And how old is he?
Do you need to know everyone's age now?
I'm just kidding. You just said his age.
I will look it up. He's 43. Taylor Page playing Axel's daughter, Jane, and Kevin Bacon is Captain Cade Grant. And also there's Luis Guzman, a great cameo. We'll get into that. This is R-rated, which I was very surprised and pleased to find out. They kept it R-rated. It's a little under 2 hours. Anthony, tell me your relationship to the Beverly Hills Cop movies.
Yeah, Beverly Hills Cop. I mean, I remember watching all three as a kid and enjoying them even back then. And then now that we've gotten back into action movies, or not gotten back into, but started reviewing action movies and doing tournaments around them, it's basically reignited my love for these movies, especially the first one. I really appreciate the first one now as an adult. The second one, also I think is pretty decent. The third one I haven't seen in a long time. I only remember it as a kid and thinking I liked it as a kid. All the reviews on it now are pretty bad. So I'd say Beverly Hills Cop is one of the ones I remember. I've had a relationship with this franchise for ever since I was a child.
I mean, the first one is an all-timer. It is an all-time classic action comedy. Sets Eddie Murphy's career on fire, and it's still one of the greatest kind of introduction the cop buddy movies. Ruggs, what's your relationship with you? I'm sure you agree the first one is a classic.
Yeah, I think we talked about it on the tournaments, and we hit on it a little bit, and it did very well in the tournaments because it's one of the few movies where the comedy's actually very funny and memorable. Eddie Murphy's like slipping into different personalities and doing all this kind of personality stuff.
Yep.
That was great at the time. He did this a lot in a lot of his movies. In The Golden Child, he would do this too, and it's always very hilarious when he does it. And so he has that, and also that the movie was a action comedy, and I think it set the tone. It created the mold for like a lot of other movies to do, like the Bad Boys movies. Like they owe everything to Beverly Hills Cop.
Absolutely, yeah.
So,
in fact, I think Adil and Bilal were going to direct this movie at one point, which I think they would have done a good job. I think Mark Malloy did a decent job. Anthony, what happens in Beverly Hills Cop Axel F?
Yeah, we are 40 years from when the character Axel Foley first made it to Beverly Hills, and he is still a policeman in Detroit, and he is still hard charging and a crazy wild west type cop. He's still getting into action and trouble and getting his ass chewed out, but he's loving life. But also it's the only thing he has going on for himself, and he is getting old, and he does have a daughter in this movie who lives in Beverly Hills where they've become estranged. And because of this, he's really got nothing to live for except just being a cop, which he loves. And there's an incident involving his daughter and some crooked cops that leads him back to Beverly Hills to jump back on the horse, investigate a new crime in Beverly Hills that involves his daughter, and try to mend the relationship that has been broken with his daughter while he tries to investigate this crime.
Yeah, simple plot. But they kind of make it convoluted to have fun with it. And all the returning people are great. What did you think at the end of this movie?
Yeah, I watched this movie on Friday. I also watched it again on Saturday.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I saw it twice. And as mentioned, I really enjoyed Beverly Hills Cop, the first one. I think it's really good. And I've always liked Eddie Murphy. But I do remember saying when I saw this trailer, I went, there's no way this is any good. Mm-hmm. And this movie Beverly Hills Cop 4 has been in the works for 30 years. Yeah. This is a Netflix movie. Netflix doesn't have the best track record with some of their original action movies. So I didn't have very high expectations. But the minute I turned this on and watched it, I was ear to ear just smiling, laughing the entire time. I thought it was a great nostalgia trip. If you watch the first one, it hits a lot of those same beats.
Yeah.
By no means is it a perfect movie, but I think it's entertaining. Eddie Murphy slides into the Axel Foley role really well. It's like he never left. I think because of the fact that we haven't seen Axel Foley in at least 30 years with the release of Part 3, getting this version of him now, I think was a nice nostalgia trip. Sean Chandler talked about it being the Force Awakens of Beverly Hills, and I think that's a pretty apt comparison.
It's interesting.
It's done well, right? Like, it's not necessarily doing anything new, but it's done well. There's reverence to the characters. It's not your typical what they're doing these days of like deconstructing the hero and making him a sad sack that where the girl is better than him,
right?
And he's still cool. Like, he's still a great cop.
Yeah,
he does have daughter issues, but she's not trying to one up him or anything like that. He's still an awesome cop. She even at the end, was talking about how maniacal he is, and that's like one of his greatest traits.
Yeah.
So they still do a great job of propping him up. It feels like an 80s movie. You have the whole crew back. It's funny. You have some good action beats. I think even the new characters add some extra dimension to it. I thought him and JGL were really good together.
Yeah.
So overall, I was pleasantly surprised. By no means is this a revolutionary movie, but as someone that likes Beverly Hills Cop, the franchise, and Eddie Murphy, I thought this was a really good return to form, and I would recommend watching it.
Nice. Ruggs, did the nostalgia work for you?
How do I put this? As a calculated nostalgia movie, it works because that's what it's doing. It's not trying to be its own movie. It's trying to be enough of a movie that's different enough, putting Axel into the future and doing it as kind of safely as possible. So I do, but Anthony said is right. They didn't deconstruct the character. They didn't try and make this character like another version of it or whatever. They kind of kept it close. So I felt like it was a little bit too familiar, but at the same time, I think it worked. And I felt like I was whelmed by it. So I wasn't mad at it. I wasn't like disappointed. I wasn't like over the moon about it. I just thought I was like, hey, all right. I mean, it could have been a lot worse. It's not so bad. So I would say, yeah, is it worth watching? Yeah, I think you'll have a good time with it. I wish that Serge would have been in there longer.
Serge was a great part. Yeah, you could use some more scenes.
But overall, I think it was good. I think the bad guy was a little obvious, and
but I think that's
overall,
I think that's
seeing like
intentional.
really that old guy with the shotgun was funny.
Taggart coming through. It's like, come on, motherfuckers! And he's blasting away. It was badass.
I'm like, why are these old cops still doing it? They should be retired. Why is he still going to work?
They definitely acknowledge that. Like when Taggart is on the ground with Rosewood, and Rosewood's going 1, 2, 3, let's just blast him.
Yeah,
he says two things. One, you're still a lunatic. Two, I don't even think I can get up.
And then Rosewood gets up and goes, drop your weapons. It shows his badge. And he's like, some things never change. Which is, so look, is it
also one thing real quick, Imran?
Yeah.
The villain thing. Yeah. It's meant, it's 100% they make it obvious because
it's intentionally obvious. Right.
If you rewatch those first three, like they do the same thing. The villain is so obvious in every one of them.
Yeah.
So it hit the same note.
Yep. No, I had a lot of fun with this movie. I also ran it back to watch some scenes. Is it the greatest hits? Yes. Is it the same formula? Yes. But you know what? The formula works. Eddie Murphy was a joy to watch. All those concerns you had, Anthony, though, I had the same concerns because his career, if you look at the last couple of movies, he's just kind of been doing like streaming movies, right? He's in the streaming movie part of his career.
And he just made another one. This is it. This is also one.
And also Coming to America was pretty disappointing.
So this is a lot better than Coming to America. My name is Dolomite. He's fucking fantastic in this. But having seen Coming to America, I had some concerns. But this is a lot better than that. He is great as Axel. And like you said, just slides right in, fast talking, getting in and out of situations.
Love that stuff.
The music brought me back to the. In fact, they used the same songs like "The Heat Is On" and "Shakedown" and the Neutron Dance.
My favorite part of the movie is when he goes to the hotel and he starts doing his thing, and then he's like, "Fuck it, I'm too old for this."
At one point, he's
I
like,
love that.
Yeah.
He does the bit, and then he has to pay, and they go $900 something dollars.
like,
and he just goes,
love
"I love
Los
Beverly
Angeles."
Hills." No, he goes, "I love Beverly Hills."
I love Beverly Hills. Yeah, I thought that was great. He's doing it so many times. He's like, you know what? Why am I doing this? He's like a writer from Bon Appetit. But the Axel F also score, Harold Faltermeyer's little.
Oh yeah, and then they remix it with Lil Nas X's.
But I feel like that they used too many drops from the old movies. Like that was a little bit too much, I think.
There was that scene at the end is exactly the same shot from the first movie, right? Where he gets in the car with Taggart and Rosewood. And he's like, let's go get a steak. And
No,
he's
there's for sure a ton of copying, and I if you want to criticize that, that's a fair criticism. I just think because it's been 30 years and the last movie wasn't great at all. No one likes part 3. I think the fact that they redid all the hits, people like seeing the hits being played, one time. And because of that nostalgia and the fact that they did it well enough and everyone, it looks like gives a fuck. I
just think it's safer. That's all.
Yeah,
like if I'm in a rock band and I go out and instead of putting out a new album, I'm taking a risk and putting out a new album.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go out and play the hits. Yeah, it's good. But like artistically, it's not as exciting because there's not as much risk.
Yeah, that's fair.
Being taken. So it's a little safe. It's not that it's bad. It hits all the right notes. And but I feel like, oh my god, they're using this song again and that song again, and they're doing this thing again.
I love that, and I love the way the action scenes were kind of shot like an 80s movie, right? They were very straightforward, great car chases and crashes. He's using different vehicles.
Yeah, there are memorable. I mean, the snowplow in the beginning.
The snowplow is great. He steals that in ATV.
The helicopter scene I watched 3 or 4 times.
The helicopter scene is fun because, and I like how they tie it in where he texts that he was a helicopter pilot from the photo and makes up this plan, and then the reveal where he's like, "I crashed the helicopter." He's like, "You should have told me that before. I would have came up with a different idea." And then just screaming.
I thought him and JGL had really good chemistry, and that whole scene where he's nervous and he's basically like, I'm just finding out now that you're scared. You crashed a helicopter, and then JGL goes, "I didn't know we were going to steal a helicopter
off of the roof of a police station."
He's like, if I would have known, I would have had this plan. They're just going back and forth, and then the part where JGL goes, "I'm seriously about to pass out," and he slaps him.
He smacks him. It's great.
Takes the gun out. I was dying laughing when he takes the gun out and goes, "I'm going to shoot you in the face, and then I'm going to shoot myself because I don't want to die in a helicopter crash."
I died in a helicopter crash. And then the low chase is fantastic. And the thing crashes in the golf course. We get a great cameo from Shooter McGavin from Happy Gilmore. Fucking Shooter's there. I was like, what the fuck is this?
That is a weird cameo.
Right? Isn't that
very
I appreciate that.
And him going, there's an old lady in there, and Shooter McGavin going, telling my caddy will go help.
That's great. And there's like great little funny, like even in the beginning where they're in Detroit and they're at the hockey game, and the guy's like, "I didn't think you liked hockey," and he's like, "Oh yeah, why is that? Well, you think a black man can't like hockey?" And that was hilarious. And them robbing the locker room, would that happen? I was like, is this a thing? People robbing the locker room.
It's a pretty. I mean, that's a pretty risky thing to do. I don't know if it's not probably that possible.
I don't even think the payout would be that good.
No, what are you getting? No. Some Rolexes and some cash from the wallet? I was like, what is the point of this?
I mean, it's trackable.
Yeah.
Like, whoever's buying it, who's buying that shit on the black market?
Great lines, though, where he's just...
Hockey players' underwear? I don't know.
Yes, you can sell that on OnlyFans. Used hockey player underwear. Where he's smashing into cars. The guy's like, "Stop hitting cars." He's like, "There's a lot of blind spots in the snowplow." And then he goes, "You're the woodman." He's like, "You're breaking your cherry." The guy's like, "I don't want to break my cherry. I want to keep my cherry." So funny.
I enjoy all the times when Eddie Murphy goes into the situation as Axel, and has to live improv, figure out how to blend himself in, because that was a big key in the first two, is him doing that, and I feel like he does that very well in this one as well.
I love it. The first
the
time,
locker room.
yes, the locker room's great. Yes.
I love my favorite one is when he goes to Rosewoods.
Yeah,
and he's just like, "What's taking you guys so long?"
It's
He's
so
like one of the criminals as well.
So brilliant. He's like, "Who sent you?" He's like, "Who the fuck do you think sent me?" We go, Beck. He goes, "No, LeBron James. Of course it was Beck." And he's just like, "Come on!" And then the guy comes in. He's like, "Who the fuck is this guy?" And there's a convenient fire extinguisher right there, so he can make his escape. It's fantastic. It's fantastic.
And that leads into the scene where he's getting where he's on the golf car on the meter
police
ladies
buggy.
thing.
Yes, that's great.
And her spraying him and him being like, "You don't have to use so much."
She's macing him and he's driving through the streets and downstairs.
That was a little bit crazy.
That was great. It was
That was a little
great.
crazy.
It was so great.
Because he drives off and you think she's gone and she's just hanging there.
hanging
Like,
up.
what are you doing?
Like after that much mace, you would be able to see fucking anything. I don't know how he
there's
saw
no
it.
way. There's no way you can just use some water to clean
And
that
I love
out.
he crashes and he gets arrested by those two female cops in that tiny car. He's like, "The fuck is this Fisher Price looking shit?" He's
Are
like,
you the
"Y'all
Lego
are,
cops?"
y'all are
Oh,
Lego cops."
You want to know what I liked that was really good? When he went to the junkyard and he's talking to that guy that
Oh,
owned the
yes.
junkyard. And the Jupiter Ascending
The
thing.
impound lot of the Jupiter Ascending, and the girl puts him on the spot. She's like, "No, I want to hear from you. What Jupiter Ascending is about."
I love when the Jupiter ascends.
Ascending, because that was my favorite part too. Oh my god! But it's so brilliant because it gets him to see the security camera video, and then I love that line where he's like, "Oh, we just had a break in 2 days." He goes, "You had a break in?" He goes, "That's some kismet. That is some kismet shit for your ass right here." It's so funny, so funny.
I mean, it's a good. I also enjoy while we're going through this. I enjoy him calling the dude at the
Fancy Dan.
club Fancy Dan.
He's fucking okay, Fancy Dan. I love that moment because Jane finally helps him out with the manipulation and playing the role. And she comes in and saves him, and she's like kind of learning from him. And he's like, "Oh, I saw that look in your eyes. We like watching your daddy work and shit."
She would actually be one of my criticisms. I thought she was okay.
Yeah.
I thought the actress at times didn't have a ton of like range.
Sure.
I didn't feel like at times she was all that scared of things happening. And I also felt like she was a bit one note. Like her character, I wish her character showed more hints of being like Eddie. I don't know that you needed to have necessarily a comedian in the role.
Yeah.
But it almost felt like she was almost anti-Eddie. And while they do some moments where they have her participate in the bits, I didn't get the sense that she was as charismatic as Eddie. And I didn't get the sense she was as charismatic as Axel Foley's daughter would be.
Yeah, but if they've been estranged and he really wasn't around, I kind of buy she wouldn't.
I was kind of waiting for like her mom to show up.
Yeah.
Is she dead? I don't know, but like that would have been a great scene probably.
Is she dead? He goes, "Your mom is worse than the 12th Street
Well,
Mafia."
they are estranged, and Axel goes, "Is that French?
Is that estranged? Is that French?
Is that French?"
I mean, some of the bits they had were funny. Where he's like Saunders. He's like, "Come on, Jane Foley sounds cool," and he spells Saunders like old Jewish man. He's like, "Yes, hey, Saunders." Yeah, that doesn't sound good. There was maybe a little bit too much with her. They could have cut a little bit back. I thought her and JGL's chemistry was okay. Like, I kind of bought it. What I didn't understand is that, let's get to the Surge scene when they're looking at the house, and
I like the Surge stuff.
The Surge stuff was great, but they're pretending to be a married couple, and then she's just like, "Oh, married, I forgot," and she just fucking kisses him on the lips.
Yeah,
there was like
weird.
no hint they were getting back together or whatever. It was kind of out of nowhere.
Well.
Bronson Pinchot.
Hobbit.
Bronson Pinchot looks great, and I love it.
I love when we got to go while we're on Bronson. I love when he goes, "I wrote this down."
Yeah,
let me pull it up.
He has
real
some
quick.
good lines.
When he goes to, he calls them Tiki monkeys or something.
Titi monkeys.
Tiki monkeys.
They're like
And
titi monkeys.
Axel's looking at him and he goes, "You can't be calling black folks monkeys." And even with that accent, you get fucked up.
You get fucked up. Yes, they're like two titi monkeys.
I just love the way he delivers that line because it's not over the top. Going, you get fucked up, really loud. He just says it very subtly, like, "Dude, you can't be calling us monkeys."
You can't call black people titi monkeys. And I'm sure there was. I feel like Bronson improv'd a lot of that, and there's probably a lot more used. I mean,
what does he say? Chemistry?
I see the chemistry. You thought the chemistry.
The magnetism. The magnetism.
Magnetism. That's so hot.
Did you enjoy the while we're on that scene? Did you enjoy the ditzy Beverly Hills realtor?
Nassim Petarod had some hilarious lines. She's
Wait,
like,
that's her name?
Nassim Petarod. She used to be on Saturday Night Live.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah. She was hilarious. She's like, yeah, kids are great, except for mine, they're losers. She's like, he's only 4, but I can already tell. Yeah, it's like so gross. This house is actually.
Wait, your name is Axel and my name's Ashley?
Oh,
that would make us actually.
Oh my God, she's so annoying. I love the moments where, he comes back into Beverly Hills and you see how things have changed, right? They deal with how policing has changed, but they're showing influencers taking the picture. Well, there's the same old robots. There's a lady in a burqa.
That's how it is.
Yeah.
It really is like that over there. And that's where I think the fish out of water stuff still works because Detroit and Beverly Hills could not be more opposite.
Yeah.
So when he goes out there, he is still way out of his, fish out of water.
Because everything's different now. And he has no idea what's going on. And then they also talk about how policing is different. Paul Reiser goes, they wanted a swashbuckler. Now they want a social worker. Mm-hmm. And even Kevin Bacon kind of comments on it. What I think is interesting is like usually the movies, the first 3 movies, they were like drug dealers. And this one is dealing with like corrupt cops in this era. So I read this interesting review and they were talking about how they made a distinction between Kevin Bacon being like a bad corrupt cop and Axel Foley kind of being a good bad cop or a bad good bad cop, right? He's a bad cop, but he's a good guy. And I still thought it was the fact that it was corrupt cops in this one, and the fact that Jane is a defense attorney is also interesting.
Did you completely understand what happened? What the case was about? What happened in that car?
Yes. You want to try to explain it, Imran? Or should I?
No, go ahead.
So the corrupt cop, Copeland was going to out them.
Right.
He was going to go to the police. So they sent in this kid from the cartel
Enriquez
to do a drug run with him, but they wanted to frame him and kill Copeland at the same time.
Yeah, yes. And then so the thing was this SD card that had the video of the murder in the car. But Grant was running.
So who was videotaping it?
Grant and his crew.
Copeland was videotaping it.
Oh, Copeland. Maybe Copeland was videotaping.
Maybe I don't know exactly who was videotaping it.
I was like, this isn't really told in the best of ways. Like,
it's like a simple story, but it's like so convoluted the way they go about getting from thing to thing. But they're showing you detective work, and
the detective work I think is decent. I think what it does though is it still props up, as I mentioned earlier, props up the Axel Foley character to be smart because right from the get go. He meets Kevin Bacon's character, Grant, and leaves and goes, that guy's wearing too expensive. Like, his shoes are too expensive to be a cop. Like, right off the bat, he's noticing things right away. Like, it doesn't need to be spelled out in front of him for him to be like, there's something going on.
He's smart. I think it would have helped if Rosewood didn't already, like, solve the whole mystery already by the time and get captured.
Right.
It would make it more special.
I think that's also leads to one of my issues with it is I think sidelining Rosewood's character is kind of an odd choice because there's so much chemistry between him, Taggart, and Foley. Yeah. And you just put him, you make him captured for 3/4 of the movie. I thought that was a little bit odd.
Well, they give you JGL to kind of,
I do
take
like
up
JGL,
that slot. He was great. No, I love when he first arrests him and he's going through his files and he's like, oh, 84 and it's 87. He goes, and then in 94, not your finest hour, which I felt was like a commentary on the whole.
No, it is. There's an interview after where they basically are acknowledging that Eddie Murphy hated 94.
Yes, that's great. I totally got that. I was like, oh my God, he didn't want to make that. And then like he threatens him and he goes, the world has changed. You can't just threaten my manhood and hope I get flustered anymore. Like, it's not going to work. I don't know. And then he breaks out of his handcuffs. But I love those little things where they're updating how the world has changed for Axel. But some stuff, he's still fast talking. He still doesn't listen to
he's still
orders.
A good cop.
Yes.
It's not like they don't do the thing where the world has changed and he's stuck in his ways and he's not evolving. He's still an awesome cop. He's reckless as fuck.
He's reckless.
He's always been reckless.
But he will get the job done. And yeah, like a
he's hard. He's very hard charging.
Yeah. Yeah,
like he's laser focused on when he sees a problem, he can't stop himself.
one thing that really bothered me?
Yeah.
Is that after he got shot and he goes to the hospital, he goes to the diner, he doesn't eat the burger.
He doesn't?
He doesn't. No, you're right. I noticed that.
Out of that thing. I'm like, that annoyed me.
Okay, so
but that is so 80s. I wrote that down. When he jumps in front of the bullet and gets shot in the shoulder.
Yes.
That is such a 80s, 90s action movie trope where it's like shoulder wound. It's basically a flesh wound. Like, you're
went
fine.
straight through. It's fine.
Yeah, your arm is fine. You could totally raise
You
it
could do
overhead.
everything. Yeah, it wouldn't just blow out your entire shoulder socket.
So to kind of recap the ending, first of all, they need after the copter crash. The other great scene is when he goes to the valet and he tries to talk to the valet. He tries to play the race card to get a car. He's like, "Come on, brother, help a brother out."
Oh yeah, that was funny.
And he's like, "Look, I don't know who you are, man. This means my job." And then he starts talking in an English accent. He's like, "Oh, you're one of those code switch brothers. I see what's happening." It was so funny. So Grant has kidnapped Jane, and Axel is in what is the last vehicle? Is that big truck, right? Yeah, they steal one of the trucks.
They steal one of the Coke vehicles with Rosewood and JGL's character.
And I do love the move where he's like, they're on their own, right? Bobby's been suspended. They're getting no help from the cops. And he's like, I'm going to get his back up. And he just smashes some cars. I thought that was really clever.
The line where he goes, "Are you guys safe? Are we all safe?" And JGL's character just subtly just goes, "I'm not wearing a seat. I don't have a seatbelt in the middle." And then Eddie goes, "Fuck a seatbelt. We're living on the edge."
I love it. He also goes, "I've never been on this end of a chase before." And like Taggart Rosewood's like, it's an acquired taste.
Rosewood also going, "Have you taken him to the strip club yet?" And he goes,
"He's like,
I'm not taking him to the strip club. He's had intercourse with my daughter."
I love when he meets him first. He's like, "Have you two had intercourse? Have you had intercourse with my daughter?" He constantly asking him. So they take the truck and drive through the mansion, and you get a great like old school shootout. Like,
this is literally they're doing the same exact shit that they did in the first one. And it might even to me it looks like the same house.
It does. It looks very similar.
Yes, it's very, very deja vu.
I just love all the stuntmen tumbling down the stairs with squibs going off. Like, it's just great old school action.
You gotta love like 3 out of the 4 people in there are old guys, and the other side is the cartel with machine guns, and these guys are just ducking and then coming up and shooting once and getting these guys. And it's just there's hardly any creativity in how they're killing.
They established though that Bobby is a crack shot. I thought they did that well. Like, he was a one-shot guy. He was just taking people down. They did not establish the scene where Axel hides behind the column, and then he puts his hand around the column, just shoots the guy perfectly. Yeah. Straight in the head is ridiculous.
That's straight straight out of the 80s.
It's so funny. You have that little moment, Jane...
there's no like creative gun fu or John Wick.
No, but
type
that's
shit.
not Beverly Hills Cop,
I know.
man.
I know.
You don't need that. You just need some good stuntmen tumbling off railings from the second story.
It just needs to have drama in it. It's all it needs. It doesn't need to have like fancy dancy stuff. No. It just needs to be dramatic.
And it was dramatic. I love the moment where we learn Jane does remember stuff that Axel tried to teach her as a cop dad, and she escapes from the handcuffs. And then that's when Axel jumps in front of the bullet to save Jane, and then Bobby kills Grant from behind. Of course, Axel survives. Jane's client exonerated. Everybody saved. They make up. She calls him dad. He loves that. And then we get that tag of Axel jumping into Rosewood and Taggart's car, wanting to get a steak. He's like, fuck it. Let's get a porterhouse. Just like in the first movie. So great. I love all that stuff. I didn't think it was too much at all. I thought it was just enough. Maybe I think it could have been a little shorter.
Because it's been 30 years.
Yeah. The movie does a great job of reminding you how great that first movie is and how great this character, Axel F, is. And how great Eddie Murphy. Like, it really, you just have to rest the thing on Eddie Murphy and hope that...
Well, you need an engaged Eddie Murphy.
Yes.
And you need the crew to be there. Like Taggart and Paul Reinhardt's character and Bronson. And you'd bring back everyone. And yet you need... As in like the Rug Boy analogy earlier about the band playing the greatest hits, you need the band playing the greatest hits, but you need the band to not be on life support. Like they need to be able to roll out there. They don't need to be like
you need the original band.
Yeah,
you need the OG band. You need them to give a fuck about being on stage.
And they all relatively do. Like I thought everybody did a really good job. They were into it. They had fun. You could tell they were having fun. Do you think this movie would have worked if it was theatrically released? I mean, would people go see it?
I wish. I don't know if it would have made money, but there is something to watching a movie that other people are at, a comedy,
Yeah.
and laughing with a crowd.
Sure.
Because it can make things even funnier. And I think this movie, if there was a crowd there that was into it, would have made. I would have laughed probably harder at stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it would have made a lot of money. I mean, it's another one of these.
I don't know.
All these old, like 30, 40-year-old IPs have all been going straight to streaming. I think this one is a little bit better than the ones we have gotten, like the Coming to America or the Bill and Ted's or.
I mean, this is way. If we're comparing it to even recent, this is to me way better than Roadhouse.
Oh, you do like this better than Roadhouse? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's safe. Don't get me wrong. It's definitely safe.
But you have the DNA and the nostalgia, and the Roadhouse was just trying to do their own thing.
It's a lot like a Beverly Hills Cop movie.
Yeah.
I mean, it is. It's a clone of itself.
Yeah.
But it was enjoyable.
It was enjoyable. Anthony, final thoughts. Give me a score, and if you want to rank it amongst the BHC movies.
I will do all of that. Yeah, overall, I can't say enough good things about this. Is it safe? Yes. But it's comfortable. And it goes back to the fact that we haven't had a good one of these in a very long time. And we haven't had a lot of good Eddie stuff. And I think this is the franchise, even over the Nutty Professor, that really defines Eddie. And to have him back in the role as an action comedy hero, I think it's all good. I enjoy the two things. I enjoyed the comedy, and there are action scenes in here that I will remember. So when you have all those things in a Beverly Hills Cop franchise, I'm all about it. I don't know if they can keep making these the same way. If they're going to make other ones, they might need to take some more risks.
Yeah.
For the first time in 30 years, I really enjoyed it. I would go 7.5 out of 10.
All right.
The reason why I wouldn't give it a higher score is it is safe, and I feel as if the director, you can tell they don't really have much of a voice in this. They're just doing. You have to take points away for just copying the first movie, but he copied it in the best way possible. If you're going to do the first movie with 60-year-old, 70-year-old men, this is probably about as good as you're going to get. So yeah, I think 7.5 out of 10, and I would say this is the second best one. I like this one better than Part 2, to be honest. Part 2 is Tony Scott. I don't feel like Part 2 has the same magic that Part 1 and this one has.
Part 2 is also like the same shit over again.
Slightly,
sort of.
Part 2 has the same shit, but it has Tony Scott. If you watch Part 2, you can see the differences in the way it's directed and the action scenes that are the way
directed the first one.
I love the first one. The first one's the best one. First one's almost a perfect movie.
First one has a better script.
Yeah,
much better script.
You also have, you have young Eddie.
Martin Brest. What the hell did he do going on? Yeah,
he did a couple of things. He's got a great name.
Yeah, I mean, you have Eddie like at his peak, right? Raw, delirious
you
Eddie.
Of him, yeah.
Yeah, you need a guy that with some kind of chest analogy in his last name, like Donnie Tits is
Donnie Tits after Martin Brest. Donnie Tits gets the job. Ruggs, give me a number. Where would you rank this?
6.5 was enjoyable.
Okay.
I feel like it's tied for the second, I would say, best, because better than the third one for sure.
Yeah.
And I think it's a good facsimile of the first movie. As Anthony said, as good as it's going to get with 70-year-old guys here.
Yeah.
Hey, like hopefully they make it. If they can make another one, maybe they'll bring it bring Beverly Hills Cop's Axel's story a little bit further in. Maybe, I don't know. I'd like to see what his wife was.
What happened to his wife?
Apparently, according to Eddie Murphy and Jerry Bruckheimer, who is still alive after all those coke.
Yeah, still producing.
A fifth one is already in development.
Oh, really? Right. Oh, all right. You got to do it quick. These dudes are getting older.
He's got to retire.
Yeah. Yeah, give me. I was like, I don't know if I need another one. Like, this would be great. Like, one and done here. These guys are getting old, but maybe if he retires, then you can make something fun out of that. I will also give it a 7.5. Great nostalgia. Had a lot of fun. Maybe a little too long. But the music, the action scenes it's a great throwback. And better than Netflix, one of the better Netflix streaming movies, just because you got Eddie. It's Beverly Hills Cop.
I got two big picture questions.
Yes.
The first one, probably easier to answer, but Beverly Hills Cop as a franchise, is it more action or a comedy?
Oh, man.
I think if the comedy doesn't work, then the whole movie doesn't work.
So it's
I think
more,
with Bad Boys, you can lean a little bit more into the action.
And yeah, the way they film the Bad Boys stuff is crazier, right? It's more stylistic. This really relies on character. Like, I felt there was a lot of good action, actually. I thought there could be more action, but now that I'm thinking about it, there's plenty of action breaks. It's a comedy action. I don't know. It's a good question.
Okay. Here's the second.
Not. It's because it's an action movie. When it's doing what it's supposed to do, it's either perfecting something that's been tried a bunch of times, or it's breaking new ground, right? So when you have, like, let's say, like a Rambo movie,
right?
It's doing that movie like it's doing it the best way it can be done. They've already made a bunch of these types of movies, but now, like, you know, Schwarzenegger's done his, and they just keep perfecting it. They keep getting it even tighter. And I think that Beverly Hills Cop, it doesn't do that with action. It does it with the comedy. It's infusing. It does it one of the best, besides True Lies, infusing comedy and Bad Boys 2.
Yeah.
I think it's funnier than Bad Boys 1, or I don't know. But they do it the best when they have the comedy infused with some action scenes.
It's a comedy.
That's what its strength is.
Comedy forward action movie.
Yes, I think it's comedy first. I think it's comedy first.
I would also rank it second after the original. That's where I put it. Second question.
Here's a tangent question, and then we'll get to the second question now that you brought up the name. This is as Bill Simmons would call it, a sliding doors moment.
Uh-huh.
Imagine if Sylvester Stallone was in this role.
Was that what was supposed to happen?
He was supposed to be in Beverly Hills Cop.
I don't think it works as good.
It wouldn't be a comedy. It would be an action movie.
Yeah.
The reason why he was originally penciled to do the role, he was filming, he was part of everything. And part of the reason why they took him out was it was going to be too expensive, because he wanted to do big chase scenes on Rodeo Drive. And he was rewriting the script to make it more, action, less comedy. So that's why he didn't do it. He ended up doing his own thing later that was similar, which was Cobra.
Oh, right. He wanted it more serious. He wasn't digging the... Look, if that happens, Eddie Murphy's career takes a whole different trajectory. Like, who knows?
He would have been Cobra.
Eddie Murphy is Cobra.
There was a question on the rewatchables of the Beverly Hills Cop where they were like, okay, what 80s action movies could Eddie have done otherwise
if he doesn't get this?
Yeah. So they were going, would you have liked to have seen him in Die Hard or Lethal Weapon or something like that?
Oh, Lethal Weapon? Forget about it.
Good.
That would be insane. Him and Mel Gibson.
Well, they were predicting he would have been Riggs.
Yeah, that's what I would think. He would have been the younger, the brash, crazy.
And then you would have someone else be Murtaugh, or maybe you have Glover still be Murtaugh.
Oh, that would be even crazier.
Yeah, right.
See, but those aren't the kind of, like, if you look at like 48 Hours and Beverly Hills Cop and Golden, like they're like specific. They're more comedy than action. I don't know what movie you could slide him in that he would that would have that same effect.
I think the Die Hard thing. Bruce Willis is great in Die Hard. Don't get me wrong, but him in Die Hard would have been an interesting thing.
That would have been crazy.
I think you could have swapped them out.
Yeah, you could have put Bruce as Beverly Hills Cop too, and that might have been interesting.
Like maybe he gets
Last Boy Scout was pretty much the same thing.
Oh right. Yeah,
because Bruce does fish out of water pretty well too.
Yeah, like maybe Eddie gets like Action Jackson or something.
Oh God,
he takes all the he takes all the Carl Weather roles. Instead, right?
He's in Predator.
Yes, like
the thing about Eddie in all these other roles is that I think what's cool about Eddie is the movie becomes even more interesting. I think with Eddie in the role, because you go because Eddie has such a different flavor than a lot of these guys from the 80s. Like if you swap Arnold and Stallone, they're different actors, but the movies are going to be somewhat the same.
Yeah.
But if you throw Eddie in there, it makes it a different movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I want to bring up
do the action thing.
I need to bring up The Golden Child.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Like that is Eddie Murphy's. He goes to friggin' China or he goes to Kathmandu to freaking fight a dragon.
That's great. That is crazy. I forgot about that.
So I mean, it's a crazy like kung fu type movie, and he's basically Axel Foley, except he's a social worker, and that is a great. You gotta watch that movie's wild.
I haven't seen.
If you love Eddie Murphy, it's a great movie.
I gotta watch it.
Yeah, Golden. It's one of my favorites. It makes me laugh just as much as the first Beverly Hills Cop.
Here's the last big picture question before we move on to other stuff Imran wants to talk about. Is Beverly Hills Cop the franchise an underrated franchise from the 80s?
Underrated? For the whole franchise? Well,
just the franchise. Because when you think of 80s franchises, you think of what? You think of your Terminator, your Aliens, your Karate Kid,
Back to the Future.
Does everyone back to Star Wars, Back to the Future?
Yeah.
Does anyone bring up Beverly Hills Cop?
I don't know if it holds up as a franchise because you're talking about one really good movie and then one movie that's kind of similar and then one like cash grab movie that's not good, right? So that doesn't really. But now with this fourth one, you have like two kind of good movies, but they're kind of the same movie.
I mean, part 2 is good. Don't get me wrong. Tony Scott is pretty good in part 2.
Tony Scott is a great director. Which one's the illegal chop shop? Where he goes, is this the illegal chop shop?
I think he says that in part 2.
Is that the second one? Okay.
You also have Peak Brigitte.
Oh, Brigitte Nielsen.
Right.
And Hugh Hefner's in part 2.
Ruggs, what do you think? Franchise holds up for the 80s?
I think it is a franchise, and I think that now that they brought it back for the fourth time, it's a different echelon because most movies don't make it to 3, and if they make it to 3, they don't make it to 4.
Right.
So, and now it's going into 5. So it is a legit franchise. But if you just take a look at just Eddie Murphy as a franchise, as an action-related franchise, you got 48 Hours, the Beverly Hills Cop movies, and then there's 2 48 Hours. There's another 48 Hours. You got The Golden Child, and then you got Metro, which is kind of like
I don't remember that.
He's a smart talking cop negotiator. So that I get he's done a couple, and he's done Showtime with Robert De Niro, I believe.
Dude, the movies he's been in are crazy. His career is
he's been a cop a few times,
but like the other stuff is all over the place. From like the Norbits and the Nutty Professors.
Well, I think there was a time when Eddie late 80s
Tower
to
Heist
90s.
too.
Tower Heist, yes. There's that. Yes,
late 80s to 90s. I think there was a point where Eddie kind of became a parody of himself.
Yeah,
where he became more than a character. He stopped becoming a character and it became, I'm just seeing Eddie doing a bit in a movie.
Right.
Whereas some of those early movies, 48 Hours, Trading Places, Beverly Hills Cop, even maybe The Golden Child, he's still a character. He's still Eddie, but he's the character he's being asked to play is also, he's like actually acting as well. Like rewatch Beverly Hills Cop.
Yeah.
There's some scenes where the scene where he confronts Victor Maitland in the country club.
Yeah.
Like watch the way he delivers the line where he's like, I'm going to fuck you up, man. Like he's not going, man, I'm going to fuck you. You know, he's not doing the whole over the top it. He's just very subtle, very
acting.
Like, hey, I'm going to fucking kill you, man. Like I'm going to get you. And then later on, when you get to like another 48 Hours or the Nutty Professor, I mean, he's just a parody of himself at that point.
But he has, and throughout his career, he has some amazing dramatic roles. If you think of, he does Harlem Nights in Dreamgirls. I think he got nominated. Dolomite Is My Name. And then at some point, I think he just wanted to make movies for his children. So he's doing all these fucking amusement park, Haunted Mansion, and just weird Pluto Nash and weird shit in the Dr. Doolittles. But what a fucking crazy career.
One of the worst movies I've ever seen with Eddie was what the fuck was that movie?
Norbit? No.
The one
Norbit was crazy.
where he it's like extremely serious and fuck, what was that movie? Oh no, let me. No, I gotta find it. It was Life.
Oh, Life with Martin Lawrence?
No, not Life. Excuse me, not Life. Holy Man.
Holy Man.
Holy Man. I remember
That is a weird movie.
I remember vividly watching this movie, and I was with my dad. And before the movie ends, my dad's like, "Let's get out of here." And we walked out. I was the one and only time I've ever walked out of a movie was that an Eddie Murphy movie.
But there are some other bad ones. Like 2 years ago, he did that movie You People for Netflix. I heard that's not really good. And then there's like this Candy Cane Lane family movie on Amazon. So he's still, doing those. Here, wait, one more alternate castings. What about Eddie in Big Trouble in Little China?
Well, that is that movie that he made.
Child?
Yeah, the Golden Child.
Yeah, essentially that's the same movie.
Yeah, no, it'd be the same. Yeah.
Okay.
So what's the character? What's that?
Jack Burton.
No, what's his real name?
Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell, is a fun swap too.
Yeah, you could swap a lot of Kurt Russell.
You could put Kurt Russell in the Lethal Weapon. You could put Kurt Russell in the Die Hard.
Yeah.
A lot of those guys, like Stallone and Schwartz, couldn't do a lot of those other roles, but those other guys could do a lot of their roles.
Yes.
Maybe not Commando. Maybe not Commando. No, probably not Commando.
I always think
Schwarzenegger had his own thing. I'll take that back. You couldn't copy Arnold for a lot of shit.
There's only one Arnold.
There's only one Arnold.
I just said something blasphemous. Take back what I said. Arnold there's still only one Arnold.
Oh shit! How dare you?
You immediately realize the error of your ways.
There's only one Eddie. There's only one Arnold.
I think the role interesting. They'll be also interesting with those other people, but there's no way you can replicate Arnold. How about Arnold in Big Trouble in Little China?
Oh my God!
Oh, that would have been a great movie. I love kids.
I'm Jack Burton. Shut up! I'm Jack. All right, let's do some news from the nation.
It's time for news from the nation. It's time for news from the nation.
It stinks.
Sounds
it
wet.
stinks. It stinks.
So I posted a little spoiler comment thread for this movie. Not as hot a reception from our Facebook group members of the nation. Adam Morris said, "Oh, dang, I forgot about this. Looking forward to seeing thoughts. Crossing my fingers, Eddie is more Dolomite than Norbert. He definitely is." Adam, I would check it out. I'd recommend it. Wes Cranford said, started it, but lost interest almost immediately and moved on. Wes, what the fuck? Come on. It's great 80s nostalgia. And then David Zika said, I streamed it all, but it didn't hold my attention. I mostly just surfed the internet the whole time. It's okay. It's not for, there's a lot of Netflix movies that have that effect on me. But this one, I loved it. David Zika also posted a link to this trailer. Did you guys get a chance to watch this trailer?
What?
We caught it a little bit of it.
It's called Kalki 2898 AD. Kalki. It is
Kalki Baltarkamis?
It is a Tollywood movie from India.
Bartakamis.
Balki Bartakamis.
Kalki?
And it came out last month, and it's made like $16 million internationally, which is really good for an Indian movie. I've heard about this movie. It is it's a Indian genre sci-fi movie, which is wild because
you say Balki from,
but no, it's not Balki.
Perfect Stranger.
Balki. That's Sarah. What is this pertaining?
No, I did watch the pertaining.
Anthony, this is kind of like an Indian Star Wars meets Dude meets Rebel Moon. What did you think about this?
Yeah. Bollywood movies or what, I don't know what, I don't want to offend our Indian listeners. I don't know what genre this is from or what you would technically call this, Bollywood or not.
Yeah.
Movies from this place always look a little interesting, a little not Hollywood.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Hollywood.
I don't know.
Hollywood. Yeah.
It's, it reminds me of, when you were hyping up the Russian Avengers movie.
You know what? This looks a little bit better than that. I was actually rather impressed.
It looks all right. Sure.
The level of CG and visual effects and design and the story seems epic. Ruggs, what's your take on this? It looks like good sci-fi. It looks like Rebel Moon, but I'm hoping it's
I was gonna say that it looks like they're just mashing stuff together.
Oh, definitely, this guy is mashing things together,
and they're mashing all. There's like kung fu.
Yeah,
there's Dune,
Star Wars. There's everything.
Yeah, it looks a little mashy, but I don't know. It could be wild. I don't know. I think Adam Does Movies watched it. I haven't seen his review yet, but I'd be interested to see. I feel like it'd be. I can't take it. I feel like you can't take it seriously.
No.
I feel like they're fucking around a little bit.
The guy, I read an interview with this guy. Also, he grew up on Marvel movies. He says Guardians of the Galaxy was a big influence, and you see that in here also. So it's a little bit Marvel, a little bit of Star Wars,
all right,
a little bit of Dune remixed with the Indian shit. I just never seen this level of production and like effects and backgrounds in a Hollywood or Bollywood movie. So I was like, holy shit, look at this fucking production.
It's kind of like, it's interesting because when I watch, like, let's say a movie out of Asia, it's got its own aesthetic, and it's completely different than what Hollywood does.
Yes,
but this seems more like it's trying to be like Hollywood movies.
Yeah,
but it's not.
Right.
So it kind of,
that's a good way to put it.
I feel like it stands out a little bit more because it's glaringly trying to emulate Hollywood, but it's still not going all the way.
But this is
kind of like, it's kind of like, I'm going to do Hollywood, but I'm not going to do it.
I can't do Hollywood. I don't have the means to do it.
You know, that industry over there, ever since like the 50s and 60s, has always kind of reflected what Hollywood is doing. Like when surf movies were big in the 60s, they were making also kind of their versions of surf movies with surf music. It just always happens later, but they for them to do like the specific genre like this is it's getting there now. That's what it tells me. I was like, oh,
well, I think that they have something to contribute because we've been watching all this kind of resurgence of all these movies that are bigger and more crazy and interesting. So. Yeah, but there always does have that look of like they're trying to do Hollywood a little too much instead of kind of
doing their own thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it's cut from a different cloth like you watch a Hong Kong film. You know, it's got its own flavor to it. Sometimes when they do make those movies that are like Hollywood movies, they don't put the budget into them either. There's some Korean movies that are very much like trying to be Hollywood movies.
Yeah.
But they're very serious. So they kind of work because they're so earnest. Yeah. But a lot of it is like carbon copies. So I think it's very interesting.
I think that's why RRR works a lot for me because it's a big action movie, but then it has the Bollywood, Tollywood, whatever. I don't know what it's called. That twist with the dance numbers and the big, so it feels like its own thing. Whereas this, I don't know if this has dance numbers or not, but when you're just doing your own version of a big Hollywood movie, but without all the resources that a Hollywood movie has, it just feels, feels sci-fi.
I don't know. It's just kind of, I'm going to say this and it's going to be controversial, Imran. Get ready to be mad.
Okay.
I feel like it's kind of appropriating, kind of a little bit. Because
why can't they try some shit over there that from what they're seeing and be influenced by like we're gonna make our own movie is gonna look like
I don't think it's a bad thing.
Like Zack Snyder's appropriate.
I don't think it's a bad thing that they're appropriate. I'm not making them but it just feels like it's like they're doing a superhero movie or they're doing a Dune.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a bad thing. I think people should be able to appropriate everything they want. You want to try and make you want to own a restaurant and not be the person that makes the food as long as the food's good.
Yeah.
Nobody cares, right?
It's an homage. It's inspired. It's a remix.
But I do think that maybe that's why it's a little odd.
Yeah.
Because it's more of an obvious thing. So it's I don't think it's a bad thing. I just think it's an obvious thing. How about that?
I don't think there's any dance scenes in here, which some people are writing was like one of the distinctive things that makes this different from a movie coming out of India. There's like actually no dance number at all, but Bollywood has always been known for action movies and then kind of mixing in romance and action. It's fun to see them try some sci-fi. That's all I say.
when John Woo came here, right? He brought Hong Kong with him.
Sure. No, but
he was doing a lot of those movies, and then people started copying John Woo.
Yes.
Right? So it's kind of like there was kind of like a bridge almost in Hollywood to that stuff with, you know, it just seemed more of a natural
I will
thing.
say, I feel like the thing over there is kind of to copy the big thing and just and rinse and repeat. Because for a while, every movie was the same. There was songs and dance, there was an action scene, there was a love interest, and they were huge. And so they kept just making the same movie over and over again. And finally, they've broken out of the mold. But copying is flattery, I would think.
But that's the genius of anime.
Yeah.
Because anime does that exact thing.
Yeah.
Right? Anime will take every genre, like horror or whatever, blah, 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 and do its own spin on it. But it's still uniquely Japanese when they do it. It's just crazy how they've been able to really pull from all these genres, but still make it their own.
Sure.
So I think that I'm wanting that a little bit more.
Listen, Bollywood's an industry of copycats. Let's just that's what we're getting. Anyways, I'll check it out when it comes on streaming. Maybe I'll go to the theater. Let's slide into what are we watching, Anthony? Hate watching The Acolyte, episode 6.
You want me to talk about that now, or do you want me to talk about Kill?
No, we'll talk about Kill after. You want to talk about Kill first? Because we got to talk about these episodes. This is some crazy shit.
All right, let's talk about these episodes. What are we talking about first? The
Acolyte, episode 6.
Oh man, let me pull up my notes.
Yeah,
Did I write the notes?
I will just get you into it by saying after an episode 5 that had some solid action and possibly we saw some promise of things getting better, it returns to a padded, boring, nothing fucking happened kind of episode where there's a lot of filler, there's a lot of staring, a lot of empty space to convey information.
Yeah, I'll just say, I gave my live thoughts. Now that I've had a couple days, it is just boring. It's clear that the show is very padded. The show has just the main characters, Osha and May, just have wild changes in their personality. They do this thing. Ruggs Boy loves this. They do this thing where they each have they have information to share with one another, but they don't share it, and they don't share it with each other because of a number of different contrivances. And it'd be like if I had to tell you a secret, Imran, and something came up in the midst of you telling me me telling you that story, you wouldn't just forget about it and be like, we won't talk about it for days. You'd probably still be like, hey, what were you telling me?
What were you going to say?
Right?
You were going to say, can Saul tell this fucking story already? Every time he's like, I have something important to tell you. I'll tell you later. Then something happens.
Saul giving the information to, all the other all the Jedi back at the planet, and the ship's comms are going out, so it's only half the message. And now because it's only half the message, for whatever reason, the green bitch thinks that he did it and he killed all the Jedi. And
he's not
all stupid shit.
And then he turns his thing off and he's like, I'm not gonna tell anybody anything. I'm gonna get the fuck out of here.
And then you just have her trying to kill him, but then didn't she say she was turning herself in, and she's also trying to get information from him? So her motivations throughout the entire episode are all fucked up. And then I have to just say, you have this stupid ass scene with the rodent and them squirting shit on her.
Basil,
and it's like, am I watching a Disney Channel show now? Why does the tone wildly change all the time?
You're telling me Saul, the only one that I figure out that it wasn't her was the fucking Basil and the Pip Droid. Like, Saul did not sense that this is
the whole thing where the Basil, the whatever the fuck the thing is, knows it's her.
He stomps on her foot.
But instead of telling Saul, he decides he's going to stomp on her foot. It just doesn't make any sense.
Now, come on, that was funny when he was trying to fight her.
No, it's not funny. It's just so stupid. So yeah, that's that's my long rant on hate watching. That's me hate watching this and actually enjoying hate watching it.
Ruggs, what'd you think? Osha May are flipped. We get a topless Khmer, Filipino Ezra.
Oh, I had a boner, yeah.
Very sexy, bathing. But he tells her a couple of interesting things.
I think he skinny dips.
Yeah, he definitely. Well, that's how you bathe in the Star Wars. You don't have an hand. You got to get in there. You got to get in there, get into all those parts.
She looked at his cock. She told him.
Absolutely. He came out buck naked, right in front of her.
He's just like, I'm going to capture someone, and then I'm going to let her wake up, and while she's waking up, I'm going to skinny dip and leave my.
Well, but they're on some random planet.
here.
She's got nowhere to go. There's
It's
a
like
ship
such
there.
an obvious like seduction ploy that he's trying to do to get her
right
to get his new acolyte.
Is he gonna? Are they both gonna flip? Is that what they're? There's only 2 episodes left, and now I feel like that they are.
This is okay. So you see, he's got scars on his back from a whip. There's a green lady with a whip.
Yes, this is about.
All right.
I was gonna make this. This is definitely gonna happen. Vanestra was his master that he's talking about. Yes,
right. And then so that's what his beef is.
Secrets in this show.
So I don't know what Vanestra did to piss this guy off, or how he failed her and whatever. But then I don't know. I just feel like that she wouldn't have any kind of clue that this guy was there, or she's trying to cover it up.
She knows it's him.
Everybody's covering shit up.
Yes, and she's covering it up. She's covering it up from the council. Saul is not telling them anything. Like, I don't think he.
This is all leading to that the Jedi done some bullshit, and they're not as dainty as we thought.
Well,
right?
what
They're all Sith. They're all Sith because the minute you deviate from the path of being, this is what. Can I just say this?
Yeah.
As a Star Wars
Educate
person.
us. Educate
All
me.
right. So, if you're a religious person, which some people are, some people are not. The reason why people get derided for being religious because you can't prove your religion, right? So if you believe in Jesus, if you believe in this, that, whatever, there's no proof that Jesus exists. There's no proof that anything that you're doing there's no proof that there's a heaven or a hell.
Right.
All right. But guess what? The Jedi Order, it actually exists, and what they do actually works. Like, they know that if they have to keep the center line, they have to be very, very controlled. Otherwise, their power can be misused, and they can veer off the path, and whatever. So there's the first time ever there's a religion that actually has a proof, a method, a way that they actually know will yield these results. Like, you will be able to control your power if you could stay on this path and keep balance, right?
Yeah.
If you go off that path, then you become a Sith, right? You can't say they didn't have a word for it, maybe, but there's gotta been people who have strayed from the path after they've learned how to master the Force.
Sure.
So to try and sit there and create like, okay, you can't have all of these Jedi that did the wrong thing. They're not Jedi anymore. They're Sith. The minute you deviate from the path that much, you can no longer consider yourself a Jedi.
But Kamir tells her that's what they tell you. There's other ways to access the Force. That's just what they
So
want
you mean
think.
to say that by deconstructing the Jedi, they're basically writing themselves into a hole?
Oh, they've written themselves into a big fucking corner.
You basically made it so anybody, there's like a Sith has to be a person who uses the Force not the way the Jedi is taught. They're doing it. They're going rogue. So by this whole thing is like they've said, oh, the Sith didn't exist. Because in order to try and get to be one with the Force, you have to try so hard and train so hard to connect with the Force that like you can't just pick it up. Now they're saying that anybody can be a Jedi, anybody can use the Force. We have this, I'll even go in with the witches and say, okay, the witches fucking have to practice to wield the thread or whatever you want to call it. They have to like be disciplined in that way. Mm-hmm. So they're just throwing all this stuff out there that kind of dilutes everything and makes everything nonsensical.
But he even goes, so he's kind of commenting on that. Kamir, just because she says that, she's like, that's the path to the dark side. And he goes, that's just semantics. Like, they're almost throwing it in your face. The dialogue, it's so fucking predictable and horrible. Like, I like what they're saying, but it's so horrible where she pulls the lightsaber on him and he's like, I too have also lost everything. And only when you lose everything can you actually be free. It's like, really?
Well, and it's just a weird thing, right? Like you're going to get naked in front of her and you're going to leave your lightsaber there and you're just going to gamble on the fact that you can convince her out of killing you.
Yeah, it's true. Well, she puts the helmet on, and then nothing
she
happens.
puts the fucking helmet on.
I thought it was interesting that like the cortosis blocks out all other senses, so you can use the Force. I don't know what that means.
Can they get off the damn planet set, the jungle set? They keep going back to that jungle set.
They go back to Kofar, looking at things that they're catching up. We already know this happened. Like, why are you here?
Get off that damn cheap set every time
they go to Kofar is fucking Jedi.
What does she go there to see? She goes there to see if like what happened to the people.
What happened?
And then she's like, Yeah.
And she somehow deduces that it potentially is Saul.
Or
why would Saul
Just like they were
call
attacked with a lightsaber by a Jedi.
Yeah.
Right.
Obvious enough. Yeah, like of course.
Well, and then why would Saul, like, it doesn't make any sense. Why would Saul call it in?
Yeah.
Like, how can she come to that conclusion?
This is made like a complete mockery of the Jedi Order. Like everything about it.
Boy, 2 episodes left.
I can't wait to watch them.
Can't wait to watch them. Okay, let's move on to more spoiler alerts for The Boys. You guys caught up episode 6 also?
Yeah.
I did catch up.
Spoiler alert.
Okay.
I had to watch it through my hands most of the time.
See, okay, this one is a little crazy. You got Huey dressing up as Web Weaver, going to Tech
I was
Knight's
laughing during
party.
the entire thing.
People are calling this the most fucked up thing they've seen on the board. I didn't think it was that crazy. I mean, they were saying some horrible shit. I still think the lobotomy scene from like 2 episodes ago was way more disturbing than any of this shit. I was like, no, stop.
I mean, or having a dude grow in your side of your dick and explode.
Yeah, that's more fucked up. What do we see here? We saw some chains, some bondage, some cake farting.
Tickling, cake farting.
And Ashley saying just some fucked up, depraved shit.
I was laughing when she was tickling his feet.
Yes. And and the crazy ending Tech Knight does get his comeuppance from his
they're like,
butler.
how do you torture a masochist?
Yes. He's like, I know. Would take his money.
Take his money.
And she's like, 100 million to Black Lives Matter. And he's like, no. That's kind of funny. But
you were right, Imran. Maybe you read it somewhere, but
no, it's
what's his name? The
Jeffrey D.
Butcher's
Morgan.
Jeffrey D. Morgan's just a figment of his imagination.
Yes, but you know what? Also, just like the Khmer thing as the master and acolyte, it was a little telegraphed.
Yeah.
Every time they talked, nobody else talked to him. Nobody else was looking at him.
Sure.
So now we know. I don't know. So Butcher kind of has like an angel and devil on his shoulder with his wife. Because that moment when he turns to the wife and goes, "Shut up, you bitch!" I was like, "Oh shit, they did it." It's great.
Mm-hmm.
Did
you like this episode?
It was I think with the Tech Knight Batcave scene alone was, I still feel like they're spinning their wheels a little. I don't know where it's going. Like we didn't get, and then I liked it. Well, Firecracker and Homelander scene with the breast milk.
And they didn't show her tit.
No, they didn't show it. They
You
just
see so much man ass and penis and
see
everything.
the
We don't get to see
shooting
it
from off screen.
I'll make you feel better, Imran. I like this episode.
Yeah.
I was entertained by it at the very least.
Entertained. Every episode I have been entertained, but I feel like this one and last one a little bit the wheels spinning. Like
I was at going, how are they going to get Huey out of here?
yeah, because he was fucked. He was fucked, but then he's all traumatized at the end too. Man, this guy just lost his dad in a crazy way, and then
Oh my god,
he had to get assaulted basically right afterwards. Jesus, they're really putting Huey through the ringer.
Yeah, it was. I thought it was a funny episode.
Ruggs, any other comments on the boys? What so far? How's the season hitting for it?
it's okay.
Yeah.
It's I started out not liking it that much, and it's it's still entertaining. The story is entertaining enough to keep me watching. I don't think it's the best season by far.
Yeah.
But it's still like amongst the stuff to watch on TV, it's still pretty good. So
I agree.
It's showing its age. It's definitely losing a step, but it's still going fucking for the jugular every time. Which is I don't need to see this much jugular.
It's just is the crazy shocking moments do they still work, or is it getting a little
I don't know. It's like I feel like that number one, it's sometimes these shows annoy me because like with the sheep the last week, like the girl who has the exploding powers could have just exploded them all, but they had to do the scene to do it. And now this boyfriend, I'm like, scientifically, do they need this boyfriend to create the virus when the virus is already in the sheep?
Well, he does have. We see the head of the sheep. He brings him to, but he needs to make it stronger.
I just think that this. Use what you got. You got it there.
The thing is,
virus is there.
It'll be airborne and it will kill all the soups.
All the
so
soups, yeah.
there's your little bit of a conflict. And his wife says no. And
But even if you could get Homelander a little bit weakened, you have a chance of taking him down.
out.
I did enjoy Sage being basically lobotomized.
Oh, that was wild when she got shot in the head. I thought she was dead. I was
and her just acting like a child when they need her the most.
She's got cake all over her face. So that was a great scene because Homelander does not have Sage to lead things, and Victoria Newman kind of
has to do the speech for him.
Yeah, takes over. But if Sage is out of commission, that's not good for him. That was hilarious. I love that Web Weaver's safe word was Zendaya. That was kind of funny.
Oh yeah.
MM has a panic attack, and then Frenchie refuses to see Kamiko. I don't understand the Frenchie thing.
I don't like the Frenchie thing. I could do without.
It's just dumb, but I'm still in. Again, this one also 2 more episodes. But I think it is suffering from that thing. I think you mentioned this last week, Anthony. Like, we know there's one more episode, and it feels like one more season, right? So it feels like they don't want to burn some things, and they're trying to pad things out and fill in this season.
It would have been better if they just didn't announce a season 5.
Yeah.
Not that the show still, I think, has lost a step, but I think that hurts it in at least my mind when you go, wait, this isn't the end to everything. There's not that there's not the anything can happen type feel, because I know not anything can happen because they need a lot of these characters for the next season. I am enjoying A-Train's redemption arc though.
Oh, yeah.
All right, can I throw a bet out there?
Yeah.
What's the over under on the super kid dying?
Ryan? What happened to Ryan? He's barely in any of these episodes. Somebody's going to die, I feel. They haven't had a major
I feel like they're going to, if they kill anybody, it's going to be him.
It's going to be Ryan. That would put things, make things, crazy.
Well, that would eliminate Butcher's motivation to live.
No, and then he would really want to go after Homelander and not give a fuck. I don't know.
I always thought they were going with the route that Ryan would be their weapon against Homelander.
Right, but they got to turn Ryan, which they haven't quite done yet.
I feel like it's going to blow up in their face and he's going to get killed.
Butcher's not going to die, but he does have those things in his head. So, yeah.
Well, he's got the thing that if he tussles with Homelander, he could probably do some damage.
Yeah, he has some powers we're not sure about, really.
Like Venom. It's Venom.
It's a little bit Venom, but Eric Kripke said in this interview, he's like, it's not like Venom, but it's like two sides of his consciousness.
It's fucking Venom. He
but
just
probably
wants
no,
to
but
cover
he's
it
got
up.
Becca and Kessler, right? It's like he's got a good guy, bad guy. They're both, but is this because of the Compound V? I don't know. Anyway, still in 2 more episodes. Let's see some more fucked up shit. All right, let's get to the best fucking episode out of all of these this week. Easily, House of the Dragon, season 2, episode 4. Another spoiler.
Spoiler alert.
Wow.
It had 1 weak moment, but other than the one CG headless person that was talking.
That part in his, and that was a vision, right? That was.
It looked really bad, but like everything else was firing on all cylinders.
I don't think we've ever seen dragon battle in daylight and this much on this show. Holy,
it was brutal.
We've seen dragons in daylight.
Shit.
That's wrong.
Yeah. Okay, but what about this extended amount? 3 dragons fighting.
No, we've only seen 2 dragons. Yeah, we have never seen the dragons fight like that. No.
What the last fucking 15 minutes were?
It was great.
Amazing.
It was a good, very good episodes.
Very good.
I mean, what's good about this show is you understand everyone's motivations and why all the chess pieces are on the board. Yeah. And then once all the chess pieces are on the board, they're able to play with them in a way where, you create this epic episode.
Just the whole sequence of events, right? Rhaenyra comes back and finally they're like, you got to send a dragon. And Rhaenys is like, it's going to have to be me. Her son wants to go. So she takes off to Rook's Rest to stop Sir Criston Cole. And then Aegon is all drunk, and he's like, they told Rhaenyra.
You got to give Criston Cole's perspectives. Like Criston Cole is attacking Rook's Rest to lure a dragon.
Oh, he did. So he is doing that on purpose instead of
He's got
Yeah,
Vagar
he's in
waiting.
cahoots with Aemon.
with
Him
Aemon,
and
right.
Aemon have been plotting this all
Right.
out.
And Aegon
Because
has,
Rook's Rest is nothing. Rook's
Right.
Rest is not even a thing that they should be attacking. But they're doing this to knock a chess piece off the board. They're hoping that Rhaenyra will come because it's so close to Dragonstone.
right.
But because they've plotted this and Aemon hasn't been involved,
Yeah.
and then he has the conversation with his mom, and his mom goes, basically, you ain't worth shit. Don't do anything.
Yes.
It breaks him to the point where he's like, I got to prove myself.
Yeah.
So he injects his dragon and himself into the thing, which fucks up the plans.
Yeah, whereas they're like to Rhaenyra, you can't go. You need to lead. You are our queen. He's like,
Right.
fuck this.
Okay.
I'm going in. And I love that moment where
I think he's one of the most interesting characters on the show now.
Aegon, really?
Aegon, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so Aemon is waiting there. Kristen Cole is like just waiting for the signal. He sends up the flare arrows. You see Aegon fly over, and Aemon is like, what the fuck? And the people are like, this is your plan to Kristen Cole? And Kristen's like, this was not the plan. So he lets him go, and then Aegon and Vagar show up while Rhaenys on Meleese is fighting Aemon and his dragon. And I think Aemon purposely saw both of them, and he's like, I can take out both of these motherfuckers
Right.
who have been
I just let it. I'll just wait it out.
Yeah,
because
He's
she's
like,
gonna get
but
trounced.
He fires
Dracarys
is
shot at both of them. Yeah.
yeah. Aemon gets most of the Dracarys, but I think he was like,
he's embarrassed because we saw his dick in the last episode. And Aegon was
yes,
making
he
fun
was
of him.
curled up. And yes, and Aegon is like, you still sleep with your first. Look at the big Aemon. He's making fun of him. So he's like, I'm taking fucking both of these motherfuckers out. But whether it was collateral or he meant
It's
to.
ambiguous and it's
Yeah.
close enough where Aemon can have plausible deniability and say,
Yes.
no, I was aiming at Meleese.
Yes. Then the moments where Rhaenys with Meleese, there were two moments where she could have got the fuck out. I mean, she scratches up Aegon's dragon pretty good. She gets a couple of cuts into Vagar. There's two moments where she could have fucked off and saved herself, and she turns back both times.
Yeah.
And the second time I knew if you couldn't see Vagar and she's flying past the castle, I was just waiting for it. I'm like, he's going to be right there. And then that moment, Vagar has Meleese's neck in his mouth. She is looking into the dragon's eyes as it dies. And she just falls, and you could see in her face, she's like, that's it. This is my fate. And I think we do. Rhaenys and Meleese are definitely dead. Unclear about Aegon and his dragon. They may have survived.
Well, it's also a bigger allegory, and I watched the post. I will now watch these post shows or the post bits, but they made a good point. And I think what they were also getting at is when you inject the dragons into the warfare, it's like it'd be equivalent to injecting nukes into our warfare.
Yeah, it's
now it's like all bets are off, and the collateral damage is beyond comprehension.
The people on the ground do not make any significant difference at all. The whole vibe of this war changes, and I love how they showed us
once
that.
you introduce dragons, there's no going back.
But they showed us the shit from the ground, them getting Dracarys and Vagar falling and just crushing people. Like, yeah, this is a nuclear weapon. It's the Hulk has come in, and you can't fucking.
So by doing like Kristen doing this while he has eliminated a dragon off the board, he's just escalated the war even more.
Oh yeah, this war has now begun, and it is. This is what we were waiting for, right? And it has happened, and now there's going to be repercussions. Meanwhile, I do love all the shit going on at Harrenhal with Daemon. How that whole castle is decrepit. It's cursed. It's making him have hallucinations of young Rhaenyra, Amelia Alcock cameos. And then we meet Alice Rivers, and she's fascinating, and he's kind of scared by her. She's not intimidated by him, and she's a very interesting person. I know there's probably a lot more in her in the books, but it's a weird side story, and I need him to get back to Rhaenyra to fucking tighten up and make some war moves. But
Harrenhal's haunted.
Harrenhal is haunted, and it's showing him shit. It's great.
So I feel like that Team Black is pretty much out of the game. They don't really have a dragon that can really compete with Vagar.
Is that their biggest dragon they had? It was.
Well, yeah, no, there is another dragon. I forget the dragon's name that Daemon was singing to.
Is that Balerion?
It might be Balerion.
He's bigger than Vagar.
I think so. but that one, no one's ridden Balerion. I think
was gonna
that's
ask, who's
Viserys' dragon.
Oh, if they have Balerion, he is a lot bigger
That's
than
Viserys' dragon. He never rides it.
Yeah.
Well, Viserys is dead.
Well, he never
didn't ride it. So that
never
No.
call him riding it.
So Balerion's just been hanging out in the fucking dungeon this whole time?
I think I'd have to look up, but I believe there is another dragon that they can call on, but they just no one's been able to mount the dragon yet.
Yo, Cole fucked up. His one job, you have one job, Cole, to protect your king. And
Yeah, that's another thing too. Yeah, Cole's the hand, and he's also the Kingsguard. I also enjoy. Again, I think Aegon for me has become the most interesting character because you can clearly tell he cares, but he's also in over his head.
Yeah,
and I love the whole bits where he's like hired these fucking dorks to be Kingsguard.
Oh yeah, the idiots.
They're all just idiots bumping into each other and shit.
Yeah. But he's all whiny. He's like, they won't listen to me. I don't know what to do.
Yeah. Well, he was never meant to. He wasn't supposed to be king.
Right.
And
I think
even his mom now, Allison, realizes that
she's questioning.
Yeah,
she asked that dude. I love that. She's like, "What do you think?" He's like,
"Well, she's looking for the Song of Ice and Fire."
Yes,
right.
Because when Rhaenyra said something about that, she didn't know what the fuck she was talking about.
And she tells her son finally about what is the actual Song of Ice and Fire. What is that information that's important? We don't really know, do we?
We do. It's about the prince that was promised.
The prince that was promised. So, and then
the Targaryens believe their line of family is they're the ones that the song is about them. That their line will eventually create the prince that was promised that will defend the realm against the North, against the White Walkers.
Yeah. And it's basically
and we know, and they really fucked that up in the last season of Game of Thrones because fucking Aegon Targaryen was Jon Snow.
Oh, right.
But now but his story's so convoluted that he like kills Daenerys and then has to stay under the wall. It's fucked up.
How do they kill the White Walkers at the end of that?
Well, what's her name killed the fucking lead guy, right?
The little girl.
The little girl, Arya. Arya jumps on him and like stabs him with something.
Yeah, Arya.
So the princess that was promised takes him out with one blow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the king ends up being fucking what's that fuck? The blind dude?
Oh,
Bran,
the kid.
Yeah,
in the
it's just
wheelchair or
so
whatever.
fucking weird.
I don't understand.
I don't understand how Bran becomes the fucking Lord of the Realm.
But man, this
But
fucking
whatever.
show,
Sorry. As an aside.
every little line, every little glance, every moment, whether it's in just dialogue or battle, so much story is told. It was so fucking good.
Yeah, because they
so good.
They have their shit together.
Yes.
Like characters, we can compare this to Star Wars. Characters act in a way that makes sense based on their previous behavior.
Sure.
You know,
logical.
Aegon, going back to Aegon wouldn't have acted like this episodes ago or even last season. But they've done the work to build him to a point where he's like, he feels the need, feels so backed into a corner that he needs to prove himself that he would go and risk his own life to jump in the battle. He's not every episode changing his motivation. He's building on his motivation. Where you have Osha and May, who the writers of every episode, it feels like is a different writer because every writer has a different take on how she's supposed to act.
Well, the thing is, like, the motivations are pure, right?
Yeah.
But how it works out for them is anybody's game. So that's what keeps the element of surprise there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think Disney's like, we don't want to be predictable. We want to subvert expectations. We don't want you to know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
But then you write the characters that they don't even do anything that they should be doing and it being subverted. Like they're just not talking to each other. They're just like, we're not going to tell you. But nope, whatever. Like, oh, you're going to be good. Now you're going to be bad. You're going to turn yourself in. And there's not even a clear reason why any of this stuff happened. So in Game of Thrones, when things go off the rails, it's because, okay, they kill the wrong kid because they have to kill somebody and they're in there doing it. So it's like, there's always a motivation. Even if it doesn't go well, it's what the guys would do in that situation. I just think that that's a simple thing that I don't know why people can't do it.
And also the way they've built this war, it's this back and forth retaliation. Something happens, somebody retaliates, somebody retaliates to that. Just like games.
There's a key line last episode where they go, by the end of this, we won't even know why we're fighting. because
Yes,
there's so
it's gonna
many
go on
things
that
that
long.
happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this
about
show
that
goes out of its way. I was just going to say that this show goes out of its way to have the characters actually try to talk to each other. I mean, this is the third or fourth time in the last episode that Alicent and Rhaenyra have tried to talk to each other.
She
make
fucking
peace.
snuck in, risking her life for a last-ditch effort, throwing Alicent off her game when she heard what Aegon Viserys said.
But the writer of the show was the Acolyte person, and they'd want to talk to each other, but then they'd find a reason why they couldn't.
I got to tell you
They'd be
something
like,
really
"Oh,
important. Well, I'll tell you later.
something really important, but we're not going to tell you."
And then one of the first words out of Rhaenyra's mouth was like, "I did not sanction that thing to happen to the kid."
Yeah, she gets right to the thing, but I love Alicent, and she's got a knife on her, and I love Alicent's like there was no mistake, and even when she finds out what he meant, she's still like there was no mistake, but she doesn't believe. But oh my god, it was so brilliant.
She knows that she's wrong. She just
knows that she's wrong, but it's too far. She's
They've
out
gone
of
too
power
far.
now.
Yeah. They've
Whereas
gone
the
too
Star
far.
Wars writer, it'd be like she'd go, I didn't author, and then as she was saying author,
Something
the audio would
happen.
cut out.
Something
would happen, and they
Something I have
wouldn't
to
talk
tell
about
you.
it anymore. Yeah.
What you think is not what you think.
Isn't it better that she tells her she knows she's wrong, but it's gone too far and she can't do anything about it?
Right.
That's more poetic than just some contrivance that you build in because you're too much of a shitty writer to write things properly.
That was such a ballsy fucking thing. And I even love how the council is like, where the fuck are Rhaenyra and Daemon? Who is leading this? We have no leadership. We're rudderless. And she shows up. Let's not forget also Alicent taking the abortion tea this episode. That must have been Kristen Cole's child. She can't let anybody know. So
I forgot about that. That's a good point.
So that
I didn't even catch that.
Yeah,
I thought she was holding her stomach.
No, when he brought the tea, I was like, oh, that's that abortion drink.
That's a good catch. I did not catch that.
I was like, who is she going to give it to? And then she fucking drank it. I was like, oh shit, this is Kristen. This guy's a Kristen Cole. She can't have. She's like, I can't bring any more crazy.
Can't be fucking dudes, bear.
That's right. Can't be bareback riding.
Yeah. I don't know how you'd wrap it back then, but you got to find something. A
Dragon
leaf?
bladder. I don't know. You got some kind of material. They just use silk and canvas. I don't know. Anyways, easily the best episode of the season.
It's only the fourth episode.
Yes, and it was fucking amazing.
It was awesome.
Best episode of the season so far. I can't wait. There's still 4 more episodes. This shit is gonna get crazy. What a fucking good show.
I hope it doesn't go downhill. I think
if it can keep, it might, but like this trajectory it's been on, it's been better and better every week.
All right, so can we get some predictions? What do you think? Where do you think this is going? Who's dying?
Ooh. Well, we know
we had a big death.
We did have a big death, Rhaenys.
Yeah.
I don't think Aegon is dead.
No, he's injured.
He's definitely very injured.
Badly.
Man, who's dying next?
I think if Aemon dies, that's crazy. Because he's like the linchpin of this whole thing.
Yeah, but he's been going around fucking killing people. Right?
But if Vhagar goes down and a lot of the other, but he takes out a bunch of dragons with him, that's an interesting thing. And I think that there's going to be a Kristen Cole versus what is his name?
Daemon.
Daemon. There's going to be a little like comeuppance from when he embarrassed him at the fucking thing back in
Kristen
the
Cole
day.
will probably be killed.
He's dead. He's a dead man.
He's definitely dying. I think they are building towards Daemon dying.
Oh, really?
In a heroic way, because he's kind of threaded the needle of being villain, and we don't even at this point. Rhaenyra doesn't fully trust his motivations, and they're calling all this out about how he should have been the king and all that. So I think he's going to come to a point where he needs to prove that his loyalties lie with Rhaenyra and not selfishly, and he's going to sacrifice himself.
Oh, he's going to.
And I haven't read any of the books, so I have no idea. This is me spitballing.
Yeah.
I don't know anything. I didn't read any books.
I don't know if there's another season, but do both Rhaenyra and Alicent make it out at the end of the season? Interesting.
I mean, it's got to end in a way where it's the kingdom is in chaos, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So, can I ask a question about Corlys?
Yeah, Corlys Valerian.
So did his wife say that he was fucking around?
Regarding that dude Alan.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's going on with him?
Alan
She was talking about his mom being pretty.
is
so
the
is that-
bastard son of her husband. Yes.
Oh, so
Alan
Corliss-
Hall is the bastard son of Corliss Valerian. Yes.
Oh.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Because she goes, your mother must be very beautiful. And she sees that he looks like him. Alan looks a lot
I didn't
like
catch that. So that's Corliss's bastard.
Bastard son, yes.
Everyone's got a bastard.
You know, it's amazing because they didn't telegraph even that Rhaenys was going to die. A lot of times they'll do the thing where the character reveals something or has a moment.
Or get some screen time.
Yeah,
that she
and
would
then
normally
you know
have
they're going to
gotten.
die. I had not see that death fucking coming. But once you saw Aemon and Vhagar, I was very worried. I was like, oh, fuck.
Oh, this is not, there's no way that this dragon's
But
going to
she
be able
had
to take on
two times she could have escaped, and she didn't. She turns back. It's wild. Dude, that shit when Aegon crashed, it was like a plane crashing into the woods with the explosion when dragons crash. It's so great. Just that little detail. It's like a plane crash. It's fucking great. Okay. Well, Anthony, what else did you watch? Let's talk about what you watched.
Well, so if you haven't caught my Patreon review, you won't know, so I'll reveal it here. But I watched Kill over the weekend.
Oh, shit.
And Kill is a movie from not the Middle East, from India.
Yep.
That was marketed as India's most violent movie ever. And I first caught the trailer for this before Boy Kills World.
Yeah.
I think that's when I caught it.
Yeah.
And I immediately was going, I got to watch this at some point. I brought it up to you guys on the show, and we watched the trailer, and everyone was pretty into it. So I saw that it was released this weekend. I know, Imran, we were debating what to review, this or Beverly Hills Cop.
Yes.
We decided Beverly Hills Cop.
Yes.
But I had some time on a Sunday, and I wanted to see it. So
this movie is 90% on Rotten Tomatoes right now. Critic score, 84% audience score.
Yeah.
I want to review it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, shut up, Imran. We'll review it next week.
Okay.
If you want. So I won't go into too much, but I will just talk about, I had to try to seek this out, and I Googled showings for this movie, and I only saw one showing at a normal theater that I go to. That it was at around 9:00 on a Sunday, and I went, that's too late. But there was a theater in the burbs of Chicago that exclusively, mostly only shows movies from India or Pakistan.
Wait, what is this place?
It's called Cine Lounge.
Oh.
I believe it's in Niles or Park Ridge.
Oh, get out.
Yeah, so that was having showings all day. So I said, fuck it. I'm going to go out to an Indian movie theater.
That's amazing.
And watch this movie. And I was one of 4 people in the theater watching a 4:40 showing on Sunday.
Oh, shit. Yeah, because at my regular AMC, it has one showing a day.
Yeah.
Just like one slot in one theater.
So
yeah, I think that the one that I have only has one show.
I might check out the Cine Lounge. Yeah,
I mean, it's all right. It's not worth going. If you can catch a showing that's more convenient for you, I would say do that.
You know what else is playing there? Kalki 2898 AD.
There you go.
The trailer we just watched.
I called in and I went, I know this movie's in Hindi.
Yeah.
Do you guys play the movies with English subtitles? And they're like, yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Like, okay,
of course they would.
So you caught it with English subtitles?
Yeah.
What was the crowd there? Were there Indian people watching?
In my theater, there were 3 other people there. I don't think they were Indian.
Okay.
They were in line before me, and they were going, what movie should we watch? What is this Kill? Is there any dancing? And the guy said, no dancing. It was all shooting.
Yeah.
So just a real quick, I know we Imran, you want to review this next week.
I really want to see it. I've heard great things. I think we should review it. I know it's very small release, but I want to do it.
So here's what I'll just say if we're going to review it next week. It is like the Raid type violence meets a Die Hard on a train situation.
I like it already.
And there are things that happen throughout the movie that the movie kind of escalates. It goes. There are 2 or 3 times in the movie where you think the movie is, you've kind of gotten a groove of what this movie is, and then it changes. So I'll just say like that. But overall I enjoyed it. I think it's worth, as action movie guys, I think it's worth us watching.
Okay.
And reviewing.
Okay.
I'll go watch
I
it.
heard it was like a 2 hours of action scenes, essentially, like all the way through.
I think there's no way Imran's not going to freaking come in his pants during this film.
Imran is going to say this is the greatest movie he's ever seen in his life.
Better than Monkey Man? I'm hoping it's more action than Monkey Man.
I'll say this. I like it better than Monkey Man for sure.
All right. No, the trailer looked fucking violent and dope.
Okay.
And I think
It's in that it's in the vein of those Indonesian movies, Rug.
okay.
So like The Night That Comes for Us.
Yes.
That kind of stuff where it's just hand-to-hand violent combat.
I'm there for it.
Let's do it. Asian representation, baby. We pay respects to the Indian.
He's so.
I do have criticisms of the movie, though. I don't think it's perfect.
I want there to be a Filipino movie that comes out so Anthony can gloat.
Yeah. You got Manny Jacinto on the Acolyte. I'm jealous, bro. I don't see no Camille Nanjiani in there. We got Manny. He's sexy.
I want Anthony to go toe to toe with Imran.
No, it's great. I really looking forward.
When Imran was talking about the Bollywood movie scene or whatever that is with Kalki, I really wanted to interject and go, before we started this podcast, did you care at all about any of those movies from that region of the world?
No. I always ask Imran how many Indian friends he has.
Zero.
And I'm like, why do you only like them when they're on TV?
No, the problem is they don't like me. That's the problem. It's not. I'm cool with everyone.
Yeah.
Oh my
They're
god,
like, this guy's a pandering shill. Fuck this guy.
Well, by the way,
I'm glad you're at least fighting for the cause online where it matters.
You can go to this theater, Imran, and they have movies in English, Hindi, Malamayan, I think, Bengali, and Telugu.
Telugu, yeah, that's Tollywood.
And Tamil, I think.
Oh, Tamil, yeah.
Are these all dialects?
Yeah,
from
there's
India.
a lot of languages.
English is just English, but
there's easily like 100 dialects in India. It's crazy.
Oh yeah.
Which is the biggest?
I don't know. Hindi.
Well,
maybe
Hindi's the national language.
Yeah.
Okay.
But there's a lot of Tamil and Telugu apparently, and then Urdu's got to be big, and then I don't know.
By the way, this movie theater also had a lounge restaurant connected to it that was serving biryani and whatever.
Oh,
the
get
hell
the fuck out! Oh my god!
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna get some biryani.
Maybe they get the out of it.
Some samosas and go watch the movie.
Yeah.
Go watch bloody violence while dipping my
I want
samosa.
Amron to go there so bad.
Let me get some shit. I
wonder if he'll freak out in real life when he sees other people.
Let me get some short.
He's like, you guys are watching the movie.
Well, you could tell though.
We're all here together.
One criticism I do have of the theater was you could tell the subtitles were, I don't know who was doing the subtitles or if they were just like the TV subtitles.
Yeah,
because it not only were they translating the language, but even when music would play, it would say upbeat music playing.
Right. Yeah, they got to describe. Well, it's for it's for if you're hard of hearing, you got to describe the situation.
But usually when it's subtitled and you watch it in a movie theater, it doesn't have that stuff. It doesn't have the music cues also being subtitled.
That's proper subtitle.
Oh yeah.
No, that's what we're doing next week. Listener kill review. I'm excited to watch
the
it.
bloodiest movie from India. Is what
apparently we will see. That's the plan. All right.
I'll let you guys decide if that's the case or not.
All right. We'll find out next week. In the meantime, that's it for the show. Rugs, where can the listener find you online?
Rug Boy Show on X. Come follow me.
Anthony, where can the listener find you this week?
I might go back to that movie theater and watch Kalki or Balki or whatever the
Yeah, watch Balki 2829, get some biryani, get some samosas.
Balki. I love Surge in
they made a Balki movie? No, it's Kalki. Yes, I'll be watching Indian sci-fi and Indian violence. That's what I'll be doing. Thanks for listening to the Jock and Nerd podcast. My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the Jock.
He's a nerd.
We'll peep you next time.
I'm pumped.
Yeah, me too.
I offered you a chance to be a cop, and you blew it!
Sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may be shit.
Jock and Nerd.